Hello, my friends. How are you doing? Let me pull up the chat so I can see what everybody is saying. And let me get some music playing as well. There we go. Okay. So, I have a lot to go over. This is going to be really, really fun. See a lot of people here. Wow. Hope all of you are doing well. Hope you're having a great day. Hope you're excited for this stream that's coming up. I know I'm excited for it. And yeah, hey guys, how you doing? So before we go any further, I want to say that there are going to be spoilers for this lore. This collector's edition lore, I am going to spoil the crap out of it, okay? So I'm assuming if you're here, you don't care, but just for the record, I'm going to be spoiling everything. I'm going to be tearing apart everything. I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you exactly what happened. So this lore came out yesterday, and by the way, if there are any volume issues or anything like that, let me know. Okay. Turn this down a little bit. I'm going to tell you exactly what happened. The lore came out yesterday, and I read through it. And I had my reaction to it, let's just put it like that. And I saw other people's reaction to it. And I was kind of confused. I thought maybe I misread a few things. Maybe I missed a paragraph, because I was really excited. I was kind of just going from page to page. And then later that night, I had a emergency meeting with Meyerzier and Archival Mind. And I was in the call with Archival as he read it. And I got to hear his reaction, and it was like, yep, he had the same thought as me. I message Meyerzier, and I say, have you read the lore? He just sends me pictures of the specific paragraphs that had got my attention. So we are automatically on the same page. Automatically. We get into a call. And we go over everything. And we have theories on different things and whatever. But on one specific point, I say, okay, are we all agreed that this is the general idea of this? And we're all like, yes. And then I say, so the people, because I'm seeing a lot of them, who say the complete opposite or have their own opinion, where do you think that they're getting it from? What specific part do you think that they are referencing that they are getting this opinion from? And the answer was, I actually just don't know. I don't know either. So I'm going to say this, in my opinion, and I'm going to go through the whole book with you guys. I'm not going to read out the whole thing, but I'm going to go through the whole book. I have notes. I went through it again. Indeed, I went through every single thing today, and I took notes. And I'm just going to say it. I do believe that this lore has confirmed the Winnower's existence. And I'm going to get into it. But again, spoilers. And yeah, I'm just gonna get into it. Also, I'm going to be focusing on trying to, I guess, be as coherent and whatever as possible. I'm gonna go on my absolute Wafflemeister rampage. So I'm probably not gonna be looking at chat. So if you have any questions or anything like that, I'm gonna get to those when I'm done. And yeah, I'm just gonna get straight into it. So I have a few pictures to keep your attention span going. Cool. But of course, I have a bit of a cheeky. I figured out how to make like a slideshow, so I can do the thing, you know. Yeah, nice. Okay. Anyway, with all that being said, I'm just gonna begin the book, and I have the. Dang it, bro! Why do you do that to me? Okay, here we go. Here we go. Wait, so you're saying if I click on the thing, it's gonna... Oh, dude, that's actually heartbreaking. Okay, wait, I have it. Wait. I can fix this. Wait, if I just... Oh, no. Can I... Is there like a hotkey that lets me change tabs? Okay, well, anyway. It is what it is. Okay. Then I'll bring up my notes. Alright. So the lore book is called Entelechy. And first off, I just want to say that Entelechy immediately rang a bell in my mind, and I knew I had heard this from somewhere, and sure enough, it actually is from lore about, I believe, the Tree of Silver Wings. What's the quote? It has something, it's Entelechy with every leaf falling, every civilization laid, whatever. It's to do with the garden. That's where I had heard that word before. I'm not saying that in Entelechy this book is directly referencing the garden. I'm just saying that that's where I had heard this word before. And I'm going to go through each page, and I'm going to give you my summary and my overall opinions on it. But there's a very, very specific point that I believe this book makes that I'm not really seeing anybody touch on. And I think that this is very obvious, and I think it's very clear as day. Now listen, I am 100% biased, of course, but I do my best to be as objective as possible. And again, I got into a call with other people who know the lore very well, people whose opinions I very much respect and I listen to. We don't always agree on things, and we actually, all three of us, well, it was mainly me and then Marzier and Archival, they disagreed with me on different things. But anyway, we all have come to the same conclusion. But with that being said, I'm just going to get right into it. Page 1. At least the first page with actual writing on it. And I'm gonna... Sure. Really, bro? You're gonna do the thing? There we go. Let's do a different picture. There we go. Okay. So right off the bat, we have H&W and RS. And these are two members of the Pyramid Race. Now, I originally had said I do not believe that this was the case. And honestly, I genuinely believe that. I really believe that that wasn't the case. And I will still say that I do think it's very odd and very strange that these records are available. And I'll get into that in a moment, but for starters, this very first page, what is the record? What does it have to tell us? Well, I had always stated that the Pyramid Race were given a golden age by the Traveler. And this did come true. However, the true extent of the power they had was always up in the air. And this pretty clearly puts it out there. These people were insanely powerful. Now, the term gardener tools is used. The gardener's tools. We don't know exactly what that means, but we do know it allowed them to effectively give golden ages of their own. And that is exactly what's happening in the first page. You have the character H&W, who is terraforming multiple worlds. And this character is in love with their work. They have all this power, but they're like effectively like a mini gardener. I think about the part of my video, the Big Boy Unveiling video, where I talk about the old garden lore in Destiny 1, and in the Mark 44 Staticides lore, it talks about the gardener who is hard to bother. She is busy in the weeds, and it's similar with this H&W character, excited about all the different plants and the life and the whatever that they're going to create. This also shows ideology, where again it's all about nurturing and spreading life across the universe and being very present in the moment. However, that will actually contrast the beliefs and opinions of other members of this race, specifically RS and the faction they belong to. The next 2 pages, 5 and 6 or whatever, explains where are we actually getting these records from. Now, I think it's still kind of goofy, but I will tell you. Ido claims that these records, these communication logs between RS and H&W, were found in an older version of the pyramids by the Fallen. And that the records taken from this older prototype pyramid was found in a derelict winter ship that was, I guess, previously owned by the House of Winter. Now, how they got into this ship and took this information, and then how that information was translated doesn't make any sense to me at all. But I think they're just doing this for convenience. That's honestly all I can say. I think that this is just a kind of a deus ex machina, just, oh, it is what it is, you know? But that is the official explanation, at least for this first log. And they give each of the different records between these two characters are found in different places. The most interesting of note being the last one, and I'll touch on that, I guess, at the end, but again, I really want to focus on what truly matters here, and so I'm not going to spend too much time on that part. Do another... Okay. So, moving on, we get another record of a conversation between RS and HNW. And this is where the ideology contrast is really made clear. And this is actually something that touches on an aspect of this race I had talked about even before Beyond Light. Or no, sorry, it was before... It was in my Where Are the Race and Why They Don't Have Bodies. And I'll get into it. So, we learn that this pyramid race had multiple factions. And this faction, think of it almost like different parties, different political parties, or different religious denominations, and they all had their own ideology. And it seems, and they state it, that this race's golden age, not only were they the first race seemingly to have a golden age, not only was it probably the most powerful golden age ever given, I have a video on that, but this golden age lasted for thousands of years. And that the traveler, or the gardener as they call it, was with them for thousands of years. And since it doesn't actually tell them anything, it just gives them gifts, as the time goes on, you're going to have different people, different groups, who have different ideas of what to do with these gifts. And the character RS is part of a group called the Penitent. Now, this group, I can sum up this group and the similar groups with one word: it is pride. And I said that in my video way back when I looked at all of the art, all of the information in the architecture. If I could give you one word that I see, it's pride. So what do I mean by this in this instance with RS? Because RS is talking about the fact that they want to achieve a final shape, that they want to help all the life in the universe. Well, the pride is that they believe that this is their destiny. And the interesting thing is that in order to achieve this destiny, to achieve this final shape, RS says that they would never do unnecessary cruelty. So they're willing to do necessary cruelty then. And they even say that the process that they would go about helping these people would be uncomfortable. So RS and their faction, the Penitent, are willing to do necessary cruelty for the sake of the greater good. And interestingly enough, this kind of ties in with what the Witness says later on: the universe makes us victim and perpetrator. And very interestingly, RS wants, and their faction wants, to stop life from going extinct. If there's a species out there, or a planet, they want to stop that life in any shape or form from going extinct. Okay, now we can immediately contrast this, and we can immediately compare this to Unveiling. Not just Unveiling, we can compare this to the Books of Sorrow. And if you are somebody who has watched my Unveiling video in its entirety, you're going to immediately begin, I guess, figuring out where I'm going with this. Okay, so they believe in their destiny to claim this final shape. Well, in Books of Sorrow, or is it the Books of Sorrow, or is it Unveiling? It doesn't matter, it's the same character. The Winnower says, and I'm paraphrasing here, but I'm going to take a guess at the quote: "There is no destiny. We're all just making this up as we go along." So that's one key difference there. Another thing is that this race were in conflict about what the correct definition of the final shape even was. When it comes to the deep that Ulrich spoke with in the Books of Sorrow, and again, the character that spoke to us through Unveiling, there is no conflict at all whatsoever. When we talk about the stopping of life from going extinct, this is against the Books of Sorrow. The deep, or the winnower, makes it very clear that the whole purpose of life is to fight for its right to survive, the right to go on being something instead of nothing, survival at any cost. It is your responsibility to stay alive, and it is your responsibility to prove to the universe and those that are your neighbors or your enemies that you are worthy of your existence. And so the idea of this pyramid race wanting to help and shepherd the universe and shelter them from extinction fundamentally goes against the sword logic. And this is going to be a point that continues to build up until there's like the big old payoff. But let's continue. Next group of pages. H&W says, the fact that you guys are arguing about what the correct interpretation of the final shape is proves that maybe your idea of the final shape isn't right. Because if this final shape is something so good, then everybody should just automatically want it. There should never be an argument to begin with. And I actually think that that's interesting, because both the gardener and both the gardener and the winnower have different versions of their final shapes, and they disagree. So potentially, and this is how I see it, if there is an argument even between them, maybe neither of their final shapes are the right one. And in my opinion, I think that that is the case, but I just want to point that out. I think that H&W makes a very good argument saying that whatever the final shape truly is, if it is good for everyone, then everyone should be in agreement with it, and it just shouldn't be an argument. The fact that you have to question it at all might be a giveaway that this isn't truly the right thing to pursue. And H&W actually goes against the pride that I was talking about that RS and their faction had by openly stating the value of humility. And what's interesting is that when you look at the first page, where H&W is gushing about how they love giving the golden ages to worlds and all the life and all that, and now this humility, they seem to be very similar to the logic of the gardener. And then we hit a very interesting turn, because RS, as a rebuttal, says, well, we have something called the observatory, and with it we can see the future. Well, at least possible futures. Your planets that you've given a golden age to, that you've told me about, yeah, I've seen that they're all gonna fall apart and be destroyed. And H&W is upset by this, especially when it does come to pass. It says, well, maybe them being destroyed actually was their final shape. And this ties in with the sword logic. Excuse me. Because the sword logic and its final shape is very simple. All life will die. You see, the sword logic preaches that you need to be as strong as possible, because only the strong are worthy of life. But the other side of that is that nobody is strong forever. No king rules forever. No star lives forever. The universe will not live forever. Everyone will die. And so, I think that H&W is potentially stumbling onto the beginnings of the sword logic, at least in its ideology. It's also worth noting that at this point in time, when they're arguing this back and forth, the Traveler is still there. And H and W and RS have different thoughts on this. H and W is more similar to our opinion of things, that the Gardener and the Traveler is responsible for, they are responsible for taking care of life. And H&W has doubts and says, but, you know, we're talking about this final shape that you want to try and claim. The Traveler and the Gardener are so much more powerful than us. How come the Gardener hasn't achieved its final shape? How come the Gardener can give golden ages to races and then watch them abuse it? How come the Gardener can stand by as other races do terrible things? So the responsibility here is being placed on the Gardener's shoulders. RS is completely different. RS says, well, the Gardener is giving us gifts and is encouraging us every day. We are getting stronger. And again, this ties into that whole glorious purpose, destiny mindset where because they are so powerful and they see themselves as the Gardener's first chosen, that they are the ones who will get the final shape. They are the ones who can... So even if the Gardener, oh no, the Gardener's not doing anything, that's fine because we are the Gardener's tools. We will make things right. And I think this is very, very interesting. Because what we are seeing is... Now, to be fair, we don't actually know how the Veil plays into this at this moment. We actually don't know if they have found... The Veil is only mentioned at the very end of this lore book. So it's hard to say how much of RS's ideology is being influenced by the Veil. But I think it is interesting that even just as these groups are debating and trying to figure things out by themselves, they are coming across points of the sword logic and I guess the bomb logic, which is the Gardener's logic. Okay, let's move on. We have, and this is actually from the pages that we could see in the preview page of the Collector's Edition. The disciples of the Witness actually didn't know, and they don't know, what the Witness's final shape is. And I mentioned this in my... Let me just make sure that my thing is on loop. Be on loop. Is good. Okay. And the... Dang it. There we go. And the interesting thing is that in my unveiling video, I went in depth with this. I said, listen guys, the Witness kept everything close to its chest. It never gave too much away. And even in Season of the Witch, I think it was Amaru who said, I bet if Xivu knew what the Witness's final shape was, she wouldn't be as eager to fight for it. And I even pointed this out way back when with my Nezarec Sin lore. Now Nezarec Sin, that lore is still broken and has not been fixed. But even then I said, hey guys, listen. Nezarec Sin clearly states, I mean not clearly, you do have to kind of figure it out, what Nezarec's motivations and goals are. And at the time, I assumed that the Witness's final shape was a version of Winnowers, which is again the end of everything. If that was the case, that goes against Nezarec. And even what we have right now with what the Witness wants, and we will go into that, that again probably goes against what Nezarec wants. And as for Rolk, it's hard to say. Rolk's a bit more of a true disciple, a true believer, but that being said, yeah, it's said the disciples didn't know what the Witness's final shape was. And then you connect this to the Books of Sorrow, and then you connect that to Unveiling, where the deep, the darkness which is the deep, whatever the order of that word is, or that name, basically spells it out for orcs. Unveiling gives us a lot of information about what the truth is behind the motivations of the darkness. So again, it just makes it very, very odd this idea that the witness was the one speaking to us in Unveiling. Or that the witness is the winnower. And I know I touched on this. I know I touched on this before. The whole idea of pride, destiny. But I want to just go one bit more into it because Ida makes a very interesting observation. The pyramid race became the way they were in part due to the fact that the Traveler was with them for so long. Well, what would have happened if that happened to the Fallen? What would have happened if it happened to us in our current Golden Age, or the one that we had before? And really what she's saying is that there's a good chance that any one of us could have gone down this path. And I wrote this, and this sums it up very well. Power leads to a belief that you are special, and a belief in destiny and glorious purpose. When you become super powerful, you then look around you at those who are beneath you, effectively, and you will have the ego and the desire to, for better or worse, enact change in the lives of those other people or things. And you may, especially if you have a following, you may have a belief that it is your purpose to do this, it is your destiny to change the world and to save people. And pride comes before the fall. We then fast forward to effectively just the witness wrecking this poor race called the Noesis, the Gnosis, whatever they're called. And I'm not gonna go in depth about it because I don't think it's that important, but the witness comes across this poor race and just destroys them. But it doesn't just kill them, it kills them and then remakes them and quote-unquote finalizes them. And this has to do with what it wants for its final shape. Just make sure, first of all... Okay, yeah, we're good. I was making sure that you could hear me. Can you imagine this whole time if you couldn't hear me? That would have been very embarrassing. Okay. And... yeah, I'm going to skip ahead. We will get into exactly what this finalizing means. I'm going to skip ahead a few pages. And we are going to get to our collapse now. So we've seen how the witness basically came to the Noesis, or whatever they're called, and just absolutely demolished them, but also kind of did something to them. Now it's our turn. And we're looking at a record from the Exodus Yellow. Dude, I don't know how many Exoduses they had at this point. You're making up indigo, and now yellow. Bro, I'm just waiting for the Exodus rainbow at this point. Just give us the whole spectrum. Anyway, we have Exodus Yellow trying to escape the collapse. And unfortunately for them, they get a bit unlucky and they run into some pyramids. And they get the order from Rasputin to become part of the defense, even though they are not a military ship at all and they have no weapons. And when Rasputin figures out that they're useless, just gets a warsat and beams through the ship to hit the pyramid on the other side of them. And it has little to no effect at all. And the next page or so continues this, and what I will say is that it brings up gravity waves, and I will explain that later, but I'm a little bit cringed by that. Okay, anyway. Ido says something that is really interesting here. And she says, had the Traveler not acted in our collapse, that the Black Fleet would have ground our solar system to dust? Well, wait a minute. For starters, what does that even mean? With all due respect, what the frickety-frackety are you talking about, bro? We've seen, and even Ido later says it, the Witness can just take planets. So, where's the whole grinding into dust coming from? Second of all, the Traveler acted? What did it do? It made the Guardians and the Ghosts. Okay, how does that stop the collapse in any way, shape, or form? How? Is it ever said that us purely existing is what stopped the collapse? No. But you know where it is implied that that had a factor in it? Unveiling. You know why? Because even though our existence means nothing to the witness, in terms of our power level and our purpose, the winnower does care. Because this is an actual argument with the gardener. And Unveiling says it very clearly that we are the gardener's last argument. That beings with incredible power and no external influence will choose to live by the gardener's logic and not the winnower's. This completely contradicts the witness, and I will get into that later, but I'm just going to say, in regards to the witness and the collapse, how does the Traveler making us change anything? And we also have the Traveler sacrifice. And we go back to Destiny 2 Vanilla, the first cutscene that you will watch in Destiny 2 Vanilla, back in the day. And it says, the Traveler's sacrifice destroyed its ancient enemy. Well, that would have explained a lot, wouldn't it? Except they chose to retcon that, so that doesn't exist anymore. So my question to you is, what on earth is Ido talking about? And at the end of the day, I am sorry, because it doesn't matter what the Traveler does. The Traveler did not save us from the collapse, Savathûn did. The main and only reason why the Witness left us alone is because it needed the Veil to get what it wanted, and Savathûn took that. So, I'm sorry, but I have no idea what Ido means by this. Not only what action she's talking about on the Traveler's part, but how Savathûn stealing the Veil and killing Nezarec is somehow less significant than this, whatever action the Traveler did. And maybe they'll make up some explanation. But I'm just saying that there's a lot of clarification here that's missing. And when you do look at the current lore that we have, it doesn't really make sense. Now we move on to what the collapse is like for people on the ground. And pyramids make the stars go out. They set the sky on fire. They poison the air. They just absolutely wipe everybody out. And I read this and I cringed. And I'm going to tell you why for two reasons. The first reason is because I believe that this Collector's Edition lore is retconning Mara Senna. Mara Senna makes it clear, and even the Stars and Shadow pulse rifle talks about this, that something made the stars go out during the collapse. And the key lore about this is Mara Senna, which is all about how the Awoken were made. And there's no mention of pyramids. The Exodus Yellow saw the pyramids clearly and stated it, but Exodus Green didn't. You have the gravity, the ASMR, like the deep voice of God. And seemingly now we are making this the pyramids. And another reason why I have always been against this is because if we're actually valuing continuity, where was the Traveler during that period? It was on Earth, and it was already fighting the collapse. Because the pyramids were there. And how do I know that the pyramids were there on Earth? Because Io was the last place the Traveler touched, and we see in the Traveler's vision during the Red War that it was on Io when the pyramids attacked. The Traveler then, and we know this, the Traveler went directly from Io to Earth, and more likely than not the pyramids followed. So unless this was like a scout force, it doesn't make any sense. At the same time, the beam from the Traveler in Mara Senna, when it clashed with the darkness, it created a massive paracausal anomaly that created the Awoken. The Traveler beamed the Black Fleet and the Witness. Not only did it not create a paracausal anomaly, it literally was wrecking the ships. If the pyramids had not stopped the Traveler, it probably would have destroyed the whole fleet if it wanted to. So again, that is some of the reasons why I always believed that this gravity-wrecking star-shadowing entity was not the Black Fleet. It seems like they are retconning that with this lore, and I do find that cringe. And at the same time, it later states that the Witness was the being that did the God Wave on Titan. So, I will say it, I guess I was wrong. I think they've retconned that, but I do believe that this is a retcon. And I think that, to a certain extent, continuity is kind of broken now. So, I guess the vanilla D2 cutscene is 100% retconned, and I would also argue that the cutscene in the Red War from the Traveler, the Vision, and the events that we see on Io probably aren't really anything at all then. But it is what it is. And when I read this, I was perturbed. A minute amount perturbed. It offended the sensibilities of my sight. But what happens next makes up for it completely. And this is where we get to the good part. You see, Ido has been tracking the Witness and what it's been doing. And she sees a pattern here. Because her own people also had a collapse. And she straight up says that the worst things that happened to the Elixni happened after the Traveler had left. And so she comes up with... She figures it out. The Witness doesn't actually need to do what it's doing. It doesn't need to cause this type of destruction. We have observed that the Witness is able to take planets. We have observed that the Witness can destroy things just by waving its hand. So why set the sky on fire? Why poison people? Why cause them... She even gives a brilliant example. If the Witness did cause the God Wave on Titan, and it later would take Titan anyway, why not just do that from the beginning? Why terrify all those people and crush them with a wave like that? It's because it wants us and all the other races that had a collapse to feel pain, despair, misery, and most importantly, it wants us to curse the Traveler before we die. And that's exactly what we see with the dude who manages to escape in their ship. They manage to escape Earth in their ship, and they curse the Traveler, and the last thing that they say is, "I wish you never came here." That is what the Witness wants. So ultimately, the collapse, and all of the collapses and how they happen, it isn't the most efficient or the necessary way. This isn't the necessary cruelty, the uncomfortable reality that RS was talking about. This is intentional. This is extreme. And as Ido says it, this is a performance. And there's one word that ties all of it together. Malice. The Witness is a being of malice. And then this is where it all comes together. You see, Ido was giving us all of these different records. And then she says, well, wait a minute. She stops. She goes, wait a minute. This Witness is a being of malice. And she explains why. And I just explained it to you. It chooses to be this way. It doesn't want to just fix the universe. It wants to punish it. It is pouring out its bitterness and hatred onto everyone. And while it is trying to get its final shape, it wants to extend those emotions to everybody else along the way. And by it forcing us to feel this way before we die, us acting like that and it witnessing that, I would argue is what gives it vindication. And then Ido, that beautiful Fallen, says, you know, I was talking to Ikora, and you know, I remember that there was a book. There were the sacred texts called the Unveiling. And You know, I granted, I don't have the best interpretation. You know, this is just how I'm seeing it. You know, she gives that disclaimer, of course. But the character in that lore book, with the dude, the Winnower. The Winnower never speaks of malice. It's never cruel. It doesn't need the validation of others. It believes that it's going to win regardless. And that alone is the vindication that it seeks. It doesn't care what you think. It doesn't want to convert you to its ideology. It just knows that it'll be proven right eventually. And this is where I'm going to detach myself from the collector's edition lore, and I'm going to actually tell you from the lore, and I'm also going to break the fourth wall, and we're going to get meta with this, why this paragraph has single-handedly pushed the needle towards the Winnower existing. I've said this to a few of my friends now, and they all agree that this makes sense. I don't see any other way of how this can be interpreted, and maybe when I'm done here, you can, if you have a different way of looking at it, let me know. The Winnower is not cruel. The Winnower, again, does not care about the validation of others. What does the Winnower want? It just wants the natural way of the universe to be maintained. And if that means everything in the end dies, okay. Too bad. Again, it's not the Winnower's fault that you're gonna die. That just sounds like a skill issue to me. You know? And the Winnower sees the Gardener as the one messing with this, and sees the Gardener's logic as unnatural. And I say this in my video. Both the Gardener and the Winnower believe that their way is the natural way. That is why the Gardener made us. Like I said, it's her argument that powerful beings, again with no influence from her, will choose to live by her logic. The Witness, not only take the emotions, take the cruelty, take all of that out of it, and we will get into what the Witness wants as its final shape in very short amount of time, but the Witness wants something completely different. Its final shape is completely different to the Winnower's. And not only that, it needs the light to get it. And the funny thing is that it knows, and this is revealed to us, it knows that what it wants is not natural. Again, I told you about the pride and the glorious purpose of you're higher above everyone else, and so you know what's best. And so I will make things better for you, trust me. You don't get any say in it, just trust me. The Winnower is not like that. The Gardener is, though. Again, I point this out in my Unveiling video. If you really break everything down, the Witness and that ideology is actually closer to the Gardeners than the Winnowers. So first of all, it's made very clear now that the Witness has a completely different ideology than the Winnower. Completely different. And then you add in the cruelty and the unnecessary pain and suffering. That is why the Winnower fought the Gardener in the garden. Because when the Gardener changed the rules of the flower game, the Winnower predicted that this would cause unnecessary suffering. Because weak life would bring down stronger life, and that its existence would be short and painful. And the Witness is going out of its way to cause this. So, just from looking at the lore, this is 100% making it very clear that the Witness is not the Winnower. These are two different entities. From an ideological and, I guess, personality basis. Now I'm going to break the fourth wall. We're going to get meta with this. Okay? It's going to be good. People came to me and they gave me that quote from Robert Brooks, senior narrative designer. He talks about how Unveiling is a parable, how it's just it's a text like the Bible, where it's full of different interpretations and people will debate over it. But the second half of that quote that wasn't given to me and that I had to go find is that he states that as we get closer, so he says the final shape will reveal more answers about the true nature of Unveiling. And it will answer those questions that we have. And as we get closer to the final shape, of course, he says, we will get more information about the true nature of Unveiling. If this does not count as more information about the true nature of Unveiling, then I don't know what is. This is the collector's edition of the final shape. The collector's editions normally have waffle lore. I was not expecting anything this intense. Bungie chose to make lore this intense, and Fife himself said that these are some of the biggest revelations we've ever had in the franchise. Bungie chose to do this. At the same time, I could have read everything, and I could have come to you and said, the Witness is cruel? Well, I know from the lore that the Winnower isn't. These are why these two characters are different. But Bungie didn't want to leave this to interpretation. They had the character narrating this to us specifically point it out and rub it in our faces. Stop the discussion and say, do you remember that book Unveiling? The character in that book, the Winnower, is different to the Witness. If they wanted to cleanly retcon Unveiling, now was the time to do it. If you're going to be talking about Unveiling in the Final Shape Collector's Edition lore, then that means this is the time to very cleanly and bluntly say, the Winnower never existed. The Witness wrote Unveiling. The Witness is the Winnower. What you do not do as a member of any narrative team when it comes to a discussion and a topic as debated as this is right before the expansion that you claim is going to give answers about this discussion, give something that's just going to muddy the waters even more if you plan on retconning it. If the Winnower never existed, if Unveiling was all just a parable and the Witness made the whole thing up, this is not how you go about doing it. It isn't. And so, with all due respect, if you are somebody who sees this lore as proof that the Winnower never existed, I have to ask you, I have no idea where you're getting this from. Bungie chose to bring up Unveiling in this lore. Bungie chose to mention the Winnower. Bungie chose to compare the two characters. Let me tell you what this means. Ido doesn't just say that this is different to the Winnower. Ido uses Unveiling as the foundation for this comparison. This is giving credibility to Unveiling when it comes to this comparison. Now, I understand that Ido is not the most knowledgeable character. She is an unreliable narrator. I have talked on this before when it comes to other topics. But again, when it comes to a topic like this specifically, and again, I'm breaking the fourth wall here and we're talking about real life reasons. If Bungie wanted to cleanly retcon Unveiling, you don't do it this way. By having this character not only bring up the Winnower and compare it to the Witness and straight up say these two are different, but use Unveiling, the book that people are saying has no real credibility at all, then you don't do it like this. You don't have Ido use Unveiling and the events within it as the foundation to compare these two characters and rub it in your face for everyone to see that these are two different characters. So I will tell you this. Does this prove that the Winnower is going to be revealed? That the Winnower is going to be in the second saga or in the final shape? No, I am not saying that. Is there a chance that we never see the Winnower? Sure. But to those of you who believe that this proves that the Winnower does not exist, I have absolutely no idea where you are seeing this. And to the people who I have spoken to who do think this, as soon as I explain it to them, they either, first of all, either they are basing this off of an inaccurate either remembering or interpretation of the lore, or two, as soon as I explain it to them, they say, okay, you know what, I actually could be wrong. So first of all, if the needle's going to get moved anyway here, it is not going towards there being a retcon. If anything, it is actually pushing it the other way. And let me just say it like this. If you are somebody who is so adamant that this is proving Unveiling is false, how come Bife, the self-proclaimed lore master of Destiny, after he has had several days presumably to read this lore On his Twitter, he says the Gardener and the Winnower very well may be real. He said that. He's not saying that they are, but the fact that he read this lore, he's had more time to read it than you or me, and he believes that it is still up in the air, at the very least, says it all. So I've spent a lot of time on this, but I think that this, at the very least, confirms that these two characters are different in terms of their ideology and all of that. And then you watch my video, my Unveiling video, where I explain why the Winnower actually exists as a character and not just an idea, and it'll all then fall into place. So like I said, I do think we are still in a position where the Winnower may not get revealed. But if anything, this is pushing the needle towards at least the Winnower not being the witness and being a completely separate character. So this is big. And the final nail in the coffin is this. I said it in my Unveiling video. Who has a track record of writing this lore for the collector's editions? It is Seth Dickinson. Seth Dickinson wrote the Books of Sorrow. He wrote probably over half of the Grimoire. He wrote Maracena. He wrote Truth to Power. He wrote Unveiling. He wrote the Shadowkeep Collector's Edition, Beyond Light Collector's Edition, a lot of the Witch Queen Collector's Edition, and at least some of the Lightfall Collector's Edition. I cannot confirm right now who wrote this Collector's Edition, but if Seth Dickinson wrote this lore and is responsible for Ido straight up comparing the Witness to the Winnower and proving they are not the same in terms of their ideology and personality, then there is no other evidence I can give you. The worst case scenario in this instance is if Seth Dickinson wrote this lore, he's gone rogue with it, and the final shape is done by the narrative team, and they're doing their own thing, and he's like, screw it, I'm gonna just do it my own way with this. But I don't really think that that is the case. I don't think that Bungie would just let a dude completely go against whatever lore is going to be in the expansion. Anyway, that's my ramble about that. If you have any questions after this, just let me know. Ido again goes on and says that victory is not enough for the Witness. Again, it doesn't just, it can't just win. It needs the vindication from everybody else. The Winnower wants you to fight no matter what. And again, go to the Darkness Grimoire card in D1. Fight on then, the war is everything. It's that eternal, futile pursuit of self-improvement and the pursuit of immortality. The Witness wants you to give up and cry. It wants you to curse the Traveler and just accept your fate. It is what it is, you know? I don't know what else to tell you. And we get to the almost the end of this, and H and W informs presumably RS. At this point, centuries have passed, and the Pyramid race are going to become the Witness. And that the other factions that have existed, the Nihilists and the other factions, they have been destroyed. There was presumably a civil war or conflict of some kind, but now there is consensus. And this is where it gets kind of confusing, because if we actually go back, H and W is the one that was berating RS, saying, well, no, like, why are you doing it this way? And you're the guys that will do the cruelty and the whatever. And RS was with the faction that had the pride and the, oh yeah, we're gonna go for the final shape and we're gonna do whatever. But it seems, if we go back to what I said about H and W putting responsibility for the universe on the shoulders of the Gardener, that those doubts have festered enough for H and W to actually swap. And there's a chance that RS and H and W actually swapped positions in terms of their ideology. If this member of the race who has left, possibly in exile, and has abandoned the consensus and has left the race, if this is RS, then it seems that they maybe realized the error of their ways. And H and W, full of doubt and frustration with the Gardener, eventually came to a more twisted version of RS's original noble view. It's either that or it's a mix-up of writing. But I thought that was interesting. When I first read this, I thought that RS and their faction were the ones that actually became the witness, but it seems that it's the opposite. H and W eventually joined the Penitent. RS possibly is the one that left. Doesn't really matter, right? They became the witness. Good for them. I just wanted to point that out. And Ido has a bit of sympathy for them. And the only thing that I will say is that it is worth understanding that, again, there's a good chance that any one of our civilizations could have ended up like the Pyramid Race. Again, power leads to the belief that you are special, and when you go after destiny and your grand, glorious purpose, yeah, it's gonna be probably not a fun time for you in the end. And history, and our own history, will pretty clearly show that. There is something that is very, very interesting here, though. And Ido says that the witness effectively scrapped and remade its own history, choosing to forget different parts of its history. And that is done to mainly, I would say, get rid of anything that could cause doubts in its pure vindication. But I also want to point out, and even, let's look at this. What is this picture that you see in front of you? The person who helped make this art stated that this was based off of a museum. This is supposed to be like a pyramid museum. And again, if I change pictures, if I go back, this is stated to be a town square, a meeting place for rituals and worship. The culture. And I was even saying to my friends, I can't remember which one, I said, you know, it's very odd to me. It seems like the witness, you have this story that is being told by these statues and this architecture, and the witness seems to be completely separate from it. And that would actually make sense if the witness doesn't even really remember the truth of its civilization or where it came from necessarily. So I think that is interesting. There's possibly an explanation there as to why the witness seems a bit disconnected from the rich history and story that's being told by everything around it in its architecture. Second last, or third last point that I want to make here is that Ido says, it's Ido or Mara, that says what the witness wants, and I'm going to quote this, "It is not simple destruction, the march of entropy, the ruined garden." Again, that's a very clear comparison to what the Winnower wants. And I've seen this from other people. I don't personally make this argument. I think it's a little bit too wishy-washy, but it's the whole Winnower representing simplicity and the Gardener representing complexity. And again, what is the simplicity of the sword logic? It is the inevitable fall of everything. And I think that this, it is not the simple destruction and the march of entropy, is a direct comparison, and again saying this is not the sword logic and the deep. And then you have the ruined garden. I think that that is just a straight up point to Unveiling. So I thought that was interesting too. And then finally, what is the witness's final shape? Well, I can tell you in one word, it's taxidermy. Basically, the witness wants to take everything and just freeze it in place in whatever way it thinks looks the best, and that's it. I think it's boring. I don't care about it. Nobody wants it. Nobody actually agrees with it. You can make you can actually make an argument for the sword logic potentially being morally right. Even that quote from the Something Awful forums that I have in my Unveiling video says that, like, in a lot of ways, the sword logic is the most competitively efficient thing to do. This whole forcing everything to be frozen into this one specific way that you like it, no more life, no more death, it's absolute garbage. It's like, bro, I just don't care. And then again, we have the fact that the witness's attempts at achieving its final shape before it's gotten into the Traveler, they've always been botched. and they've left unnatural scars on the universe. So first of all, again, this proves, and actually another point in this lore book is that the witness is not the actual darkness. It claims to have dominion over it, but it clearly doesn't. And again, if the witness had that level of power with the darkness, why are its attempts to exert its will in reality leaving these crude, unnatural scars? And the witness knows that. It could literally, quote unquote, remake the whole universe by itself. And it would be an ugly, crude, failed depiction. It needs the light and the gardener. And I was talking to Archival yesterday, and I said it basically wants admin tools. And he was like, yes, exactly. That's exactly it. The winnower doesn't need the gardener. The way that I've always said it is that the fight between the gardener and the winnower, it's two parents in a custody battle over their child and how best to raise them. The gardener is simply in the way of the winnower, and the winnower is simply in the way of the gardener. The gardener is putting up ugly sandcastles that the winnower doesn't like, and the winnower is the bully who's knocking down the sandcastles after the gardener raises them. But what the witness wants goes against both of their ideologies. And the sad thing is, because it's a created being, and it's not a paracausal god like the winnower or gardener, it needs the true power of the light to exert that kind of will over the universe. And so it needs the gardener and the traveler from the thing that it loathes. And anyway, that is everything that I can tell you about the lore from this thing. We do have other topics like the Vex, and the Vex have come up, and specifically the last message from H&W to presumably RS saying that they're going to become the witness. This was found in the core of a Minotaur by Aldrin in the Black Garden. And there are theories that this proves that the Pyramid race made the Vex, or that the Vex have a link to the Pyramid race. I'm not going to get into that right now, because I need to do more digging into it. But I am somebody who always has valued the most important lore above everything else, and that has always been the true story of the Pyramid race and the Gardener and the Winnower. And I believe that this lore very clearly is meant to make it obvious that the witness and its ideology and its personality is completely different to the character presented in Unveiling. And the funny thing is that just by you believing that, if you look at Unveiling and you see all the connections between that and the Books of Sorrow and all of that, it becomes very clear. It's a domino effect. You will then realize that the Winnower isn't just an idea, it is a character. It is a character with intentions, goals, and a relationship with us. A relationship that is very different than our relationship with the Witness, which is basically non-existent. And then as you go down the rabbit hole, you will see that if the Winnower exists, then so too must the Gardener. And if the Gardener exists, then so too must the Winnower. And so, I'm not going to say that the Winnower is going to be revealed or is going to be a big bad villain or anything like that, but I do not think that this lore debunks the Winnower existing. I think if anything, this pushes the needle in the other direction. And yeah, I think that it is really important that people are aware of this. So with all of that being said, I'm going to end it there. And for people who are late or who missed it, I've been recording this, so I'll have this as its own video. And yeah, I'm going to leave real quick, go to the bathroom, and then I will come back for the stream. We'll look at the Bungie stream together. And yeah, I'll be right back. Let me just put this and do a cheeky bada boom, bada boom. Okay. BRB boys.
Oh. Bungie.
Okay, I'm back. And I think we're going to be in time for this stream. Let me pull it up here. Find the... I'll go to the Twitch account. And it'd be just on time. Would it be Bungie?
The Bungie Twitch account.
Yeah, oh, here we go. Okay. Again, let me know if volume levels are okay. I'm gonna pull up the chat. Whew, boy, I went on a massive rant there. Ooh-wee. Let me scroll up. Okay. Can I put Subway Surfers and Family Guy funniest moments? I mean, I told you that I preferred South Park. I said that in the comments. I said that South Park was better. I'm sorry, but it's just not gonna happen, man. My worst enemy is technology. 100%. The cope. Okay, let me I'm gonna do this in the accurate voice.
The cope. Dude, Destiny is crap. It's made with DEI guidelines. They lost their vision 5 years ago. The story doesn't make sense for a long time now.
Yeah, true. Does the final shape even exist then? Because how can anyone agree on one ideal scenario?
All right, hello everyone, and welcome here to beautiful Bungie.
I'd say there
in
isn't
scenic
one
Bellevue,
true
Washington.
shape necessarily.
My name's Andy, and I'm going to be your host today. And today we have the distinct opportunity to go ahead and show off some brand new stuff coming in Destiny 2 Into the Light. But fret not, I won't be the only one going ahead and telling you about it. I'm joined by 3 members of the Destiny development team
what you can,
who will go ahead and introduce
let me know
you
what you think
right
of the volume
away.
levels.
Starting directly to my left, Mr. Tom Farnsworth. How are you doing today?
Make sure that
Thank
they're
you, Andy.
okay.
I am doing great. I had coffee,
Yeah.
breakfast on the way here. I'm a little ready to go. Excited to share all the great work the team has done the past many months. And just for context about me, I'm the creative lead Into the Light, and I'll be here with you the next few weeks to talk about it.
Looking forward to it. Yeah, we've got a lot of fun stuff in store. And of course, we're joined by senior narrative designer, Mr. Jerome Viernich. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great. Also had coffee.
Nice.
On the highway while screaming at passing cars.
Quite a drive in as well. And for the folks at home who may not know you as well as we've had the opportunity to learn about you over the past couple days, who are you and what do you do here at Bungie?
I am a senior narrative designer, which means if you hear a character say it, or if you read it on screen, one of us typed it into a tiny little box at some point months before.
Hanging out with Excel lots these days?
Absolutely.
There it is.
Tiny words, tiny boxes. That's me.
It's an important tool, obviously.
Absolutely.
And of course, last but very not least, one of the most deadly I've ever seen to rock the thumbsticks, especially in these past couple days, the one and only Mr. Noah Lee, activity designer here on Destiny 2.
Hey everyone, my name is Noah Lee. I'm an activity designer on Destiny 2 Into the Light. And I have the distinct pleasure of introducing us to Onslaught so we can see all the really cool things that we have in store. I'm a long-time player. I've been playing since Destiny 1, and as a player turned dev, I'm excited to show off all the stuff we have planned I'm just so excited to see what's
awesome. Well, hey, welcome. You guys, thank you so much for taking time to join us. To everyone in chat, I see a lot of activity in there as well. Thank you very much for taking the time to join us today as well. But yes, today we're going to go ahead and kick things off by looking at Onslaught, which is a brand new activity coming in Destiny 2 Into the Light. For those of you out there that are Twit enjoyers that have had a chance to go ahead and see what we've been posting the last week, we went ahead and released some key art last week that is now up on screen. You can see here. There's a lot going on here. So let's go ahead and just start. Tom, can you tell us a little bit about what Onslaught is?
Yeah, so Onslaught is a new 3-player activity that's the, kind of the core of Into the Light. It's available to all players.
Yeah.
And you can kind of see in this key art, like this is a kind of aspirational view of what Onslaught is in game.
That's what I thought.
It's a new wave defense activity. It takes inspiration from a lot of modes we've looked at, like in other games and our games throughout our kind of history. And you can see here you're in the last city. And I'm really excited that our players are going to be able to, like, the Guardians are going to be able to hop into this space.
It's Lightfall 2.0, boys. Lightfall 2.0.
Defend the last city and eventually take the fight to the Witness's forces here. And you can kind of see like, you got our 3 Guardians. They're kind of ringed in defenses. You also got like the pyramids in the sky.
I wonder where they came from.
Like kind of pyramid terraforming going on.
I wonder where that came from.
The city itself too.
And
they are at our
city,
doorstep.
And there's a few other locations too. Maybe we'll talk about later.
Talk about that later. So, also too, Jerome, this is, not the first time obviously we've ever had to go ahead and defend ourselves on our own turf, but never quite like this before. Our heels are dug in. We're in the last city right now. Can you tell us a little bit more about what's going on here?
Absolutely. So for the past several seasons, the forces of the Witness have been closing their vice grip around the Sol system. The Witness is inside the Traveler doing nefarious deeds, enacting the final shape. Time is on its side. We have worked with ancient magics, esoteric rituals, bargaining with our old foes in order to send someone through the portal and establish a bridge, and we chose Crow. Now, until he makes contact with us, we are back at home sharpening our knives. Now, the Witness, of course, will do everything that it can to keep us on this side of the portal, which means unleashing every bit of its resources,
didn't it do that
every
at the start?
Part of its power against us to keep us pinned in the last city. So this is about breaking out and discovering new power, sharpening ourselves, finalizing our builds, and getting some new toys so that we can face down the Witness.
That's right. And we're also getting some help from a tried and true sharpener of Guardians as well. Shax is going to be helping us out as well, right?
Absolutely. Where some see calamity, Shax sees opportunity.
True.
And he is going to be opening up his arsenal for us to enjoy. I think we'll hear about that next week, right?
Okay.
He'll be your vendor, and I'm really excited for players to hear from him.
Awesome. As someone who spends a lot of time in the Crucible, it's always good to spend more time with Shax. Inspirational, to say the least.
Absolutely. High volume.
Yeah, honestly, it's the best part of him. You just throw more grenades. Reminder to everyone.
Never go wrong.
May it be a hint to us all. And of course, Noah, there's a lot also too going on here. I see turrets, I see other activity defenses. Obviously, we're going to jump into some gameplay here, but before we do, can you tell us a little bit about what we're going to see when we dive in to play some Onslaught here live in just a bit?
Yeah, of course. Yes, so something that's really cool about Onslaught compared to a lot of our activities in Destiny is, like Tom said, it's not an offensive, it's a defensive. Our goal is to defend the ADU, or Advanced Defense Unit, which allows us to build our defenses like turrets, tripwires, decoys, and the main goal is to make sure that that thing stays up for all of your waves that you're fighting in. And if that goes down at any point, regardless if you're on playlist, normal, or on legend difficulty, your game will end. So the main goal is to keep your defenses safe.
I'm excited
build them
for
up,
this.
Upgrade them, and try to get as far as you can.
Yeah, legend difficulty.
I can't wait to get 2 tokens in a blue.
I like what I'm hearing.
I had to do it. And another thing, just really quickly, we had a lot of learnings from some of our activities in the seasons, like deep dives and the coil, where we know players like when we escalate difficulty over time. So that's a key feature of Onslaught. You go from wave 1 to wave 50, each 10 escalating in difficulty, as we're going to see in gameplay. And that serves a really cool opportunity for players to test their builds and, the waves of enemies that we're fighting against are the whetstone by which we are sharpening ourselves.
Excellent. Yes, build crafters, you're on notice. Be prepared for what's to come. All right, well, I say there's no time like the present. We are seeing a lot of requests in chat for gameplay. I think we can go ahead and dive on in.
The Throne World.
Noah, would you mind returning to your Throne World briefly to go ahead and kick things off here?
My tithes.
Obviously, yeah, we got to get some tithes for the man himself. In the meantime, really quickly, obviously, with Onslaught being a brand new activity, we're going to kick things off in a very different way. Can you tell us a little bit about what we're going to see when we go ahead and start things off?
Yeah, you're going to see it in the gameplay here in just a second, but Onslaught is about kind of establishing a defensive kind of like beachhead in these contested territories where we're like trying to claw space back from the Witness.
Certainly.
And we're going to see it in Midtown here in a moment. And so players start off with you and 2 other maybe friends you found that you play with all the time, or maybe you matchmake you in with, and you're going to push forwards with Shax's Red Jacks that you're going to see here. You'll establish a defensive area, you'll deploy the advanced defense unit, and then you'll start placing defenses. As Noah said, there's turrets, there's trip mines, there's decoys. The decoys is our favorite sweetie bot.
Right. Yep.
And
back to help once again.
And you can upgrade those too. Like the way the activity works is you defeat enemies to collect scrap, which is our currency, and then you can spend that to deploy these defenses. And you're gonna have to be kind of selective. Like each of these defensive locations can move around throughout the activity.
Right.
And here we go.
Awesome.
We already got some action
already
here.
Yes.
So we're over here trying to create a foothold for our ADU, supported by Shax's lovely Red Jacks. We know and love them. And as soon as we've cleared out the Elixni that are here, or the Fallen, our ADU's here. As we see, we got some batteries in tow, and this begins our first really interesting part of this activity, which is our purchase phase. Killing enemies will grant you scrap, like we see in the top left.
I kind of wish
and
the
we have
gameplay
30
window was
seconds
a bit
to pick
bigger.
one of a suite of upgrades. We have tripwires that you can buy for 1,000, decoy, which is our lovely sweeper bot here, and turrets. I know people are very curious about turrets, so I'm just going to buy this first.
There we go.
But we have our lovely guests, Clayton and Ashley, who have helped create this activity in our playtest team. They're with me, helping fill out the fire team, and they're building their defenses.
It's always best to have some solid teammates. And also, for the folks in chat noticing some weapons, go ahead and just go ahead and observe everything you can possibly see on screen. Oh, it's okay. We're going to have plenty of time to dig through those inventory screens. But in the meantime, chat is connecting some dots with the things they may have seen in the key art. But also, too, so Jerome, we're here obviously going ahead and doing this for a reason, right? The ADU is here for a purpose. Can you help us understand a little bit about the role that plays in the defense that we're mounting against the Witness?
Absolutely. When all of the Guardians and their allies enter the port to face down the Witness, Earth will be essentially undefended. So it's important that we establish solid defenses now and claw back as much territory as we can in advance of our assault.
That makes sense.
I also want to just point out, I know we're not going to be able to look at it, and we'll see the weapons next week, but we've got some beautiful new lore on those weapons. And so any of those lore hounds, make sure you check out those tabs.
We will be only maybe looking at whatever happens to show up in the stream today, but yes, this is the Brave Arsenal, as it will be known. Players will get a chance to go ahead and be more intrinsically involved with this. We'll have more information on that in the coming weeks, but for those out there that are observing maybe some previous Guardian favorite weapons out there, worry not. You'll have lots of information to learn over the next coming weeks.
So I want to kind of get started on kind of what players have been seeing since we've been talking about as a whole. As we're able to see, like, the ADU has a health over its head right here, and we have enemies in waves coming to try to defeat it. If you've been paying attention, we have high-value targets that are mini-bosses or elites called saboteurs, which drop these repair batteries. And for other attempted players, we can see that there are champions involved. So, bring your champion weapons. Make sure that you are well equipped for this. We have different waves and different augments like we're seeing on Wave 3 that demand your immediate attention. We know Destiny players like to run and gun, so we try to get you out of the space of the ADU sometimes so that you can kind of do those objectives to make sure that, I can explore Midtown and all these other spaces when we have the other maps that you see.
Crucible enjoyers know this space pretty well. It'll be a chance for everyone to go ahead and check it out. But also, too, actually, thank you, Noah, for checking that out. Obviously, the pyramids have been busy in here helping to go ahead and mount this offensive.
I think they have an eye for decoration.
Yeah, honestly, they're doing a great job. I got to give them credit. They keep it consistent. But Jerome, these are pyramid ships in our own backyard that are going to go ahead and just try to terraform the city. Or can you help us learn what's going on here?
Well, they don't have to do anything. I mean, the Witness is doing what it wants to do, and if we don't stop it, then it's game over. So they really just need to keep us pinned. The Witness is inevitable. There's no way we could defeat every one of the Witness's soldiers. There's no way we could, fight them one by one.
We'll try.
We have to deal with the Witness head on inside the Traveler. And we'll do that soon.
So also too, you know, obviously getting going
That
and
didn't
send players away from
explain
the ADU
anything.
is pretty significant when it comes to accomplishing all of the tasks.
I don't
in front
think he
of you
actually
here
knew.
in Onslaught. But Tom, can you tell us a little bit about the defenses as well? Like, I think we see some trip mines up already, set and ready to go.
Yeah, you can see the horizontal beams. Those are trip mines. As you upgrade them, the colors will change. You'll be able to deal more damage and kind of fire off more
Trip mines get more charges.
Yep.
And they get more in size. If you upgrade it, you'll go from 1 trip mine to 2, as we see here, which is really nice. I'm gonna keep going.
And then we've also got the turrets. Noah, if you could show off a turret in a second.
Oh yeah.
Those as well. When you can upgrade those three levels as well, they change color. They deal more damage. They get more health.
Yeah.
The fire rate increases actually also.
Yep. And then we've also got Sweepy Bot, who also those decoys mostly just gain health and change color a little bit. But the idea here is like each of these defensive locations, we're going to kind of randomly pick defenses for you to deploy, and it's up to you kind of to make the best choices and use your limited resources, the scrap that you're collecting, to make the best choices there, because you're not going to have all the currency you need right off the bat to deploy everything and upgrade everything. You're going to have to be like, no, maybe we want this turret, or maybe it seems like enemies are coming more from this direction. Maybe we should have these trip mines.
Right, yeah. Let's focus our attention and abilities maybe in a different direction. Let the trip mines and turrets do some work in a different direction.
Yeah. Something I want to bring up is we actually have a bonus objective going on right now. We have secondary
Yeah, I
objectives
agree that defeating them
occasionally
would not
appear,
solve anything.
In waves, and this one is just to complete the wave within a certain amount of time. And if you complete that while you're defending the ADU, you got to make sure that's alive. You'll actually get a reward, which is a heavy ammo crate that will refill your ammo. When you get higher up in the waves and you get more difficult enemies and like larger waves of stuff, like that is definitely something you're going to be trying to get.
Yeah.
And that kind of ties into the team coordination you can do. Like if you have a good team in the higher difficulties, you're going to need a little bit more coordination. You might need somebody to go out and do the augments and somebody to go out and do the critical objectives.
Yeah, and also too, so just to make sure, Tom, as well, this isn't the only ADU we're going to be defending in this activity. It moves around the map.
So, as Noah said earlier, there's 50 waves in our challenge version of this activity.
Okay.
There's a playlist version, which is just one location.
Oh.
Easy, quick, fun to hop into. You
Okay.
do 10 waves and you're done.
Okay.
And then there's the challenge version, which we're showing here. So there's 50 waves or 5 sets of 10 waves.
Oh,
Yeah,
boy.
this is how we like to talk about it. And with each of those
Okay,
sets
I know you keep
of
saying
waves,
that,
we
but like,
move
this is
around
cool.
the map between
This is
3 different
cool.
locations.
Okay, got it.
And so you'll
I like
start
this.
at one ADU, you'll defend it, you'll take the fight to the witness for a little bit, you'll come back, and then you'll build up defenses more, and then go fight a boss.
Yeah, which is what we're seeing as well right now. Like, we're on board a pyramid ship now, right?
Yeah, this is one of my favorite phases where instead
Really?
of defending the ADU, we take the fight to them. And as you see, we cultivate a spark of light, and it's time to run it down, destroy the witnesses, lieutenants, and, do a fun backflip. Let's hope I can pull that off.
Do the backflip.
It's important. If you don't do the backflip, chat's going to be very upset, I can already tell.
Very.
Here we go.
Look at that.
Here we go.
Ooh!
You make it look so easy, Noah.
Because I'm just good.
He is good. He's doing pretty
Wait,
well.
but what
I'm
did
not
that
gonna
do?
be not going to
We're also on the first set of
Wait,
waves.
what did
It's
that
gonna
do?
get a little spicier later. The first few waves are...
Does it, like, blow up the ship or something?
Kind of like the training wheels.
Right, yeah. Because you
I
were
mean, I
saying,
don't
too,
think so,
there's
but-
a 10-wave version of this and a 50, was it?
Yes, there's a 10-wave version
That's
called
right.
Onslaught Playlist.
Okay.
If you're in for, you want to be in for a short session.
Like you're doing all
I
that
think
to kill
that's
one
definitely
dude.
the place for
Like-
you. Onslaught, in our experience from playtesting, is really easy to lose track of time and just kind of keep going. You can always be like, just one more wave, a few more sets, and then you're like, dang, it's been an hour. Like, it's actually crazy.
That's great though.
Noah, I got a question, if you don't mind. How do you decide whether to unlock new defenses or upgrade the ones you've already got?
So it really is a risk-reward thing. As we're seeing, like, when you upgrade defenses, they will exponentially increase in price, which means that you have to make a decision every purchase phase, like, do I want to save my money to potentially upgrade something down the line and also hope that that defense, lives long enough to be upgraded? Or am I just going to bite the bullet and buy something now that can help me immediately? My strategy usually is that in the first few waves, I will not buy anything to, like, just save up for later, and usually my teammates will do something.
Yeah.
That's where communication comes in. If you just do that by yourself, I don't think your teammates will be very happy with you.
It's fair. As always, keeping the comms crisp is very important, especially as you get those higher difficulty levels. Because, we're just in the kind of the fledgling waves of this right now. But, when we were doing our playtest yesterday, things got crazy in a hurry. I hope we get to see some more of the craziness we saw yesterday. But I don't want to spoil anything for chat. Obviously, there's plenty to be discovered in this.
Something I neglected to mention, which we've been doing this whole time, is the ADU batteries will actually heal it, kind of similar to like Forges in the Black Armory from my real vets out there. And the ADU, the enemies are naturally compelled to come over here and like attack it. They'll shoot it, they'll knife at it. But also, if there's any enemies that stay in the radius of the ADU, you'll see it'll turn red and damage will start to tick. So that's when you need to throw your ADU batteries in there and you'll get scrap for that. But if your ADU's full on health, you'll actually get 3 times the amount of scrap. So it's in your best interest to try to keep it as healthy as possible because you might be able to snowball your defenses.
Interesting. So especially if you're really pushing for those later levels and like that
I am a
40s
little
and
bit
50s,
disappointed
maybe it just
that they're
behooves you to
just
hold on.
using
Midtown.
Midtown.
So let your abilities and weapons do the talking.
To be honest,
for a little bit.
yeah.
These are no joke.
I understand why, because they had to make this really quickly.
There we go. We got one of the
But-
bigger mobs on the way.
Yeah, here's one of our
I don't know.
augments,
We'll see. Maybe
just
there's more areas.
Demolitionists. We get these huge ultras that come in and just they're beeline for the ADU.
Yeah.
Since we're on the first wave, they're not that difficult, but I promise you, wave 40, wave 50, these guys are tanky. They require a lot of attention.
We'll
And
give you some credit in making it look easy as well.
you know, like I said, you know, I'm just that guy.
He's been preparing for this moment. Also, too, actually, let's talk a little bit of build crafting. What are you running right now, Noah?
So I'm not, I'm not treading new ground here. I'm a Night Stalker by heart. I got my Gerfalcons on. We actually, off screen, we're figuring out how it's pronounced. But Gerfalcons, everyone, so anyone who mispronounces it, that's how you say it. Doing that, I love Buried Bloodline. It's a great weapon from, Warlord's Ruin. I love the Catalyst. And, I'm just doing that because we might see some Tormentors, who knows? And I like precision when we're doing that because, rockets aren't very effective against
See, over the past day or so, as we've been getting prepared for the stream, I'll admit my jealousy for Buried Bloodline has only been growing. I'm a big fan of Graviton Lance. We get along very well. But I got to say, the precision that you've been getting out of Buried Bloodline makes me upset that I haven't just gone ahead and buckled down and gotten the farming done to
dude,
get
it's
that
so
thing
cool.
unlocked, honestly.
Yeah, great. So as we see, we are actually in the pyramid again for the boss. We're taking the fight back to the Witness's forces.
This
and
is
this brings
great.
up a really interesting part of all of the boss phases where instead of having immune shields or immune phases, we have different augmentations that allow you to increase your effectiveness against the boss. So for example, this one is Augmentation Well. If you stand in these wells and defeat high value targets, you will actually deal increased damage to the boss for the rest of the fight. That's something, because these are meant to be kind of like victory laps, like you've survived against the ADU, it is time to just, you single-mindedly take down the boss.
Yeah. Interesting.
Takes
Also, too,
payback.
actually, really quickly, Tom. So I know we touched on there being 10 and 50 wave versions, but we got a question in chat from Tirkinator. Is it random matchmaking? Do you get to bring your own fire team in? Both?
So playlist is random matchmaking, or you can bring your fire team in,
Yeah.
and then I believe the challenge modes, of which there is a normal version and like a hard version, which goes up to GM. I believe that the normal version is match made. We can correct on socials maybe for the second one. I don't think it's match made, but I think everything supports fire team fighting.
Cool, awesome. Yeah, obviously. And honestly, too, it never hurts to bring in your own GM crew if you're pushing 50 waves.
No, we definitely want you to communicate in that activity on the upper end, especially. You're going to have a much better time.
Yeah, honestly. Also, too, actually, while we're kind of on that subject, I remember something you mentioned earlier was, kind of one of the goals, I think, from a design standpoint you were mentioning was that it's kind of just easy to get lost in this activity. The combat sandbox that Destiny has, sometimes you just want to throw down and just test new builds, go crazy, and this is something that really seems to facilitate that.
You might even feel it on the stream here as we're going to go deeper and deeper here. Like we defeated the first set now. We're on the second set. We're at a new defensive location you can see here. That's near the river walk.
I don't think it's. I agree, Jay. It is frustrating. This is Midtown.
So
I
we
agree
were
with
able
you.
to change it to our other faction.
But I
It's
think the
not always
reason
gonna
why
be
it's
fallen.
Midtown
we have the high that was
is
shown prominently
because they
in our
had to make it
poster.
really quickly.
Oh, that's right, yeah. For the more keen eyes at home, they may have noticed that behind the scenes,
this wasn't a
the
planned
fashion has changed.
content
so,
drop.
When Jerome mentioned it earlier, every single one of the armies at the Witnesses
yeah,
Fest
I
is gonna
agree.
Go ahead and be a
It's-
part of this fight potentially.
But here's
Or
the
which ones
thing
are
as
they,
well,
rather?
right?
Or if you don't mind me
Like,
asking,
it's straight up called
This is your-
Midtown.
Yeah, we've got.
This to me
we've
implies
got
that they'll have
Fallen
multiple maps.
And Hive
Hopefully.
are going to be
But
pressing
we'll see,
the
dude.
last
We'll
city,
see.
but the Taken are definitely
Huffing that copium.
active elsewhere.
Yeah.
They're sort of they're being marshaled for other purposes, which I won't.
Other elements of the
won't mention.
seasonal story are yet to be revealed. We'll let that obviously uncover
Let that
itself as time
percolate.
goes on naturally. Yeah, there's
Yeah,
there's
I
probably some
agree.
more hounds out there
It
to go ahead
could've.
and discover. Jerome, when you're putting together a story like this, you know, obviously kind of helping us realize what the Witness's mission is, like what was kind of some of your inspiration as you kind of looked at this activity and the opportunity it presented to the narrative team?
We always start with the characters, like the emotions of the characters, from their perspective, how they would see things, how they would react.
Certainly.
And so that's what made Shaxx a natural fit for this. It's such a gear-focused activity. It's so ferocious. We needed a voice that matched that level of intensity.
I agree.
And so that's where we came up with Shaxx.
Yeah, Shaxx is like the perfect hype man.
Honestly,
I mean, the Crucible's literally been preparing
it's so great
for
when
this.
you get later in the rounds and he just kind of makes you feel like you can keep going.
I mean, that's his goal, right? The Crucible is not a forgiving place, and he's there bringing folks in every single day that he possibly can. So
He's been preparing us for this. That's what the Crucible is for.
No, and that's a great way to look at this. The Crucible is preparing.
Exactly.
You know, fighting other Guardians to sharpen ourselves to you know, fight a war. And this is just fighting a war.
Yeah, honestly, this is what we've been sharpening ourselves for. You know, this is that moment. Also, too, kind of in that theme, we got a question from Cozy Spartan in chat. Are there any other weapons that are coming back? As a quick reminder, this is the first of actually three streams as well. So next week we're going to be talking about that. So make sure and mark your calendar and tune in then. Today, this is just a taste of Onslaught and kind of a first look at what's to come in the brand new activity. Joining us with Destiny 2 Into the Light.
I'm out of money. I'm broke. No.
All out of scrap already?
Yes. I bought one thing. I suppose I spent it all on these 2 turrets, which have been performing pretty well, actually. I'm a
Is there a
person,
pyramid?
I prefer to upgrade a few things because their effectiveness is much more heightened.
Yeah, stream citing me, yeah.
I feel like if you all
This
pool
isn't
your
fresh,
resources to make
it's
a
them
few
making an
traps
excuse.
really good, that might serve you well, but you know, who knows?
I mean, from a
Legendary
gameplay
and
experience,
you're in GM,
it is
you're
fresh.
really gonna
Obviously,
need
the wave mode.
Those defenses to help you out because
The wave defense
those
mode.
enemies are
but-
powerful and they are focusing down
Mainly
your
the
ADU
location.
unrelentingly.
Yeah. All right, so we've touched on there are 3
I mean,
different defensive
you
tools
go
at
to
your
one,
disposal
but if
between
you
the
look up,
turrets,
I don't
the
actually
trip
know.
mines, and obviously the decoy sweet bot.
I'm gonna keep
and
my
those
eye
are
open.
upgradable,
Let me know if you
I
see
remember
it.
correctly?
Yes.
Correct. Cool. How far do those go up? Like what level? It'll be 3? Awesome. And as I understand it too, there's a pretty steep progression as they go ahead and continue leveling up. That scrap really ends up being worth it.
They become more expensive, but yeah, they also it's not like a linear progression. It's more logarithmic. They kind of jump up in power.
Yeah.
But you got to keep them safe too, right? The enemies, like you might get an augmentation where like one of those big knights or big fallen captains comes in and just smashes them.
Yeah.
And so you definitely want to try to keep the space clear.
Yeah. A brig drops in from low orbit and just smashes it into bits.
Yeah.
It's been known to happen. Who knows?
Now, in that instance, if one of your defenses is destroyed, do you repurchase it at level 1?
Yes,
Yes, you
you
have to
lose that.
repurchase the
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And that's one thing you have to watch out for with trip mines. You know, like I said, they have charges, and they will just, they will go out on their own. But that's why they're so cheap. You're going to have to rebuy them once you run out of charges.
Yeah. And also, I think I saw a question in chat. I missed the name, so apologies to whoever asked this. Is scrap individual or is it fire team wide?
So we've got an interesting way of doing it. So the fire team earns scrap together, but you each get to spend individually.
Oh.
So you can't mess up your fire team mates by like overspending. You've got your own little stock, your own little wallet, purse of scrap to spend. So you can coordinate if you want, or you can just
I know what you
spend
mean.
how you see fit to help the team.
Yeah.
In general, like anything you purchase is just going to help.
Yeah, and someone too, like in the past,
Yeah,
I've played,
it definitely
personally,
reminds
like,
me
a
of
lot
Escalation Protocol.
Wave-based defense games. There we go. When it comes to the upgrades, I imagine, like you were saying, it's pretty logarithmic. Is there a feeling of wanting to, instead of getting, 3 level 1 turrets, get 1 level 3 turret, for example? Like, is that power gain kind of the one you want to be chasing if you're pushing those higher levels?
I think it's definitely valuable to do that as long as you can keep it safe.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, sometimes it might be better to spread out the
that's true.
the damage, but like a lot of that's going to vary, like what
Yeah, that's fair,
augments or
Ben.
which enemies are coming in.
Yeah.
And you're not going to be able
I'd
to
say
control
you're
that.
not the
just
only
gonna
one.
have to react. Like it might be.
Yeah.
This might be an easy wave of just some thrall.
Yeah.
But it could be a bunch of exploder shanks too.
Yeah, we made
Tom, who would put a bunch of
And,
exploder
like,
shanks
even
into a
me,
wave?
this-
Who on earth would possibly be responsible
I've been
for that?
playing the game a lot
You can
more.
blame Noah. You can
than I
blame me
have.
for drop pods. You can blame Noah.
I've done a lot.
Everyone who's
And
spending their
I am
time
looking forward to
about
this.
drop pods,
You
you
know,
go ahead and charge that directly to Tom. You can follow him on Twitter right now.
Oh no.
Yeah. Noah, Jerome, out of curiosity too, when it comes to kind of the seasonal story and where this fits in. So again, we're digging our heels in, fighting against the Witness, just sharpening
It
ourselves.
kind of looks
The
like
next
the
step pretty
pyramids
much
of
is
just
to go ahead
one
and
big
hold out for as long
corridor,
as we
and you
can
either
in
spawn
preparation
on
for
one
that
end
next
or the
battle, I'm
other.
assuming.
Absolutely. We're waiting for Crow to essentially build a bridge in concert with Mara, with help from Osiris and others. And so it's really the universe is on Crow's shoulders.
Yeah.
And I couldn't we couldn't imagine anyone better suited for the task.
Yeah.
Crow has come a long way in a short amount of time.
Yeah.
And I think he deserves an opportunity to show what he can do.
Yeah.
And I think he'll come through for us.
Still has uttered one of my favorite lines. Yeah, we went ahead and chased him into the astral plane. Well, I just shot at him until he ran away, but your way's better. Like, he's earned his spot. He's ready to go, obviously. All right, Noah, where are we at? What are we looking at right now?
So right now we're looking at one of our waves. Like I was trying to say earlier, we actually have a wide diversity of waves. Like as we've seen with the Hive and the Fallen, that it's not just, you know, fighting acolytes and thralls every time. We have different composition. So this is a wave full of exclusively ogres and cursed thrall. Cursed thrall are nice because it allows you to chunk the ogres if they're grouped up.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they're cursed thralls, and as we see, they are just booking it straight toward the ADU.
These ogres seem very dedicated to their task out of the gate, honestly.
No, you're
It seems
probably
like within
right,
a millisecond,
Jay.
they're just lighting up anything
Hey,
they
Alex.
can possibly see.
Yeah, I think they're really dedicated to the witness, and you know, I think they're also kind of stupid. So they're just doing what they know.
I'm not brave enough to say that to an ogre's face, but I respect you for being able to do so.
So we're seeing another bonus objective here, actually, which is there are going to be pyramid splinters that spawn. That's a great. Now, where are they?
I think there's one up behind you, Noah.
Oh, right here. Look at that.
That's not a splinter.
And then if you keep following it, it kind of leads you away from the space, and why am I missing?
There we go.
We're able to get
Hey,
heavy
Felix.
ammo, which I desperately needed because my berry bloodline is out of ammo.
That's right, I never heard that.
So there's tension, right? When those splinters lead you away from the ADU, right? You need to kind of have split your attention in two directions.
Yeah, that's the thing that we were really wanting to index on. So for these critical, not critical objectives, for
It's
these
good to have you here,
augments,
man.
they kind of incentivize players to like leave the ADU and kind of have roles. As we see, we got splinter mines, and you have. guards
I
that
went
are
over
guarding them. We
all
have
of the collector's
Clayton and
edition
Ashley
lore,
doing that for me
and
while I defend
now
the ADU.
we are
And
watching
that kind of means that you have less people defending. Like
reveal stream.
the
for
wave is still
Light.
coming towards you, but there's things you have to do, and those distractions, which aren't really optional, are kind of what gives you that tension and kind of allows for interesting build crafting decisions. Like, that's something I kind of wanted to go into, something that excites me as somebody who's kind of seen how our seasonal meta kind of develops with things like Strand Titan and Solar over and over.
Yeah.
I'm interested in seeing if interesting things come out of like Onslaught. You're not trying to stay alive yourself, you're trying to keep this ADU alive, which is a object completely separate from you. So like its stasis is going to be more
I
useful.
still don't
We're
understand like
seeing,
why the
Ashley's
ADU
arc.
matters at all.
She's using Arc Souls, which has proven to be really useful against the Fallen. Like, is Risk Runner going to be something people want to use, or Trinity Ghoul, or Sunshot?
Which gun, Alex?
We're gonna forget that happened. That's fine.
The
So also,
sidearm.
too, when it
It's
comes to the
it's
build
from
crafting element, I can
a
probably
dungeon.
imagine when
the-
you're
the
doing
most recent
GM
dungeon.
difficulties, like it's not just your own build you're worried about, but making sure you have that communication across to your team, across champion mods, across element types. Like, there's probably a whole heck of a lot to actually make sure you're keeping track of throughout this entire activity.
There's a lot going on in the activity from a moment perspective. We have a bunch of different wave types, augments, different squad compositions, and different bosses as we're seeing, and augments there. So really, like, build is king. Like, you're still shooting bad guys, using your abilities, using space magic, but it's all a matter of like how you use it in each situation. Like, maybe you want something more offensive when you're fighting a boss, or bring in that spark and rift. But when you're in the ADU,
That's
you might want
the
something
exotic
to help you
sidearm
hunker
from
down.
the
Actually,
most
too,
recent
no,
dungeon.
we're on that subject of augments. Something you mentioned yesterday I thought was pretty cool were boss augments as kind of the levels continued to progress.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about those?
So we just did an
they're
augment
just
just now
normal
that
lads.
had capture points spawn in the arena. Oh, we have one right here. And what that does is that calls in turrets that will eventually come and help us out. If we call both of them, they'll all activate, and that serves to kind of get some heat off of you.
Yeah.
And just overall kind of help. Like, these are level 3 turrets. You see them in blue. They're looking really nice and spiffy.
Yeah. And again, you were saying at level 3, the fire rate also increases?
Yes, fire rate, health, and damage increases
It's not
for
bad to
them.
have.
But they cost 6,000 scraps, so you're going to need to save up a lot.
Okay.
I think it's 12,000 scrap altogether for like going from level 1.
Can you just roll that leftover Shrieker Eye into some enemies, maybe just for the... Oh, it fell off.
Where'd it
Never
go?
mind. All right.
Go full.
Yep. No.
The void calls.
All right, so what level are we on now, out of curiosity?
We're on wave 20.
Was that 20? Okay, cool. Awesome. Man, this is going well, honestly. Yeah, I will say, especially after yesterday, we learned that Noah is one of the most dangerous to ever wield the 2 thumbsticks out there. To all the PvP streamers as well, go ahead and challenge him openly on the internet.
Hey, I go flawless, you know, check my KD.
Yeah, that's right.
I thought you were the gilded one.
Well, I don't want to brag, but as a 4 times gilded flawless, I mean, I'll let you guys brag for that.
Wow.
Hey, I'm gonna brag too. I got Riven's Bane back in Forsaken. Petrol's run, that was tough. You know, all my Riven's Banes out there, we know what's up. And Shadows.
Yeah.
Y'all got it.
There's a chapter of everyone's dream journal dedicated to that particular time in their lives, obviously. Drop the Bungie ID, they're saying.
Yeah, I'd
Perhaps
agree with
I'll
you.
leave that up to him. That is his...
Oh, I can do it. No, I'll do it. Check my rave report. Check my dungeon. Hey, I'm there, bro.
Noah is ready, honestly. He's prepared for this moment. Let's see here.
So new ADU, new location?
Yep.
Yes, well, that's something I neglected to mention. So every time you do
I
a
think
boss,
it's really
you
important
will actually change
that we have
locations
more than
and
one
let me just
map,
buy something
because
real
I
quick
really
to save
don't
money.
wanna just be
But
Midtown.
The defenses you pick, like that you placed before in your previous locations,
Yeah, I
those
really
will
don't
still
want
be
just
active.
Midtown.
So that means that you building up your defenses over time, you obviously can't
I don't
upgrade
really
these
see
since they're
what
not up to
necessarily like the
location you're on,
point of this
but
is.
They will help you when the waves get harder. So
I
you
don't
having
know.
a level 3 turret or level 3 decoy somewhere, that will actually help you out.
Like,
and you'll be able
nobody
to
was
take
living
aggro
here to
from the waves.
begin
Like we
with.
see,
It's just a Crucible map.
The turret right there doing damage to the knights, that it all kind of helps that feeling of feeling like you're the vanguard and the last city, like you're helping to defend them. These emplacements are permanent and not just temporary.
Okay. You're really, really digging the trenches and setting yourself in. Okay, again, we'll put that on the list of things that chat didn't see. We get a veto. That's the one that everyone gets to forget. Sorry, chat, but that didn't just happen.
Everyone makes mistakes, man.
Also, too, actually, J.R. Bizzle in chat asks, are the rewards going to be tied to the wave you get too? Now, I know Noah kind of mentioned this a little bit when he was referencing the coil earlier, but you know, obviously there's between the level 10, or pardon me, the 10 wave and the 50 wave versions, you know, what's the reward story for each one?
So in all the activities, every time you beat 10 waves and you beat the boss, you'll get a chest.
Okay.
Get rewards.
So every 10 waves,
Yep.
you get, okay.
And then in the challenge mode, there's the normal and the hard version of those. In the normal version, you get a normal chest all the way until the last wave. You can beat the final wave.
Yeah.
You'll get double rewards.
Oh, okay.
And then if you play the hard mode,
Yeah.
you get additional rewards in all the waves.
Excellent. Okay.
And so like, there's some little surprises there too. We might have along the way at the end as well, just if you're lucky.
Excellent. Yeah, for the ones that are really going to go ahead and
I
try a few
think
times out, maybe
as
there's
a
an additional
horde mode,
variable
I
thrown in
actually
there from
think
time
it's
to
good.
time. Excellent. Yeah.
But
also, too, actually,
obviously the
Kurt
rewards
Jones,
are a big factor.
29 asks, how
And
do
I think
revives work in this activity?
as a
both between
Destiny
normal and
player,
legend?
I just think the map
that's
is
actually
another
a great question.
big thing.
As we see now,
I just
there is not.
wish
Oh my good lord! Wait, give me a second. Give me a second.
What a great time to think.
Oh, look at
critically.
that. It's
There's a tormentor on
hey,
your doorstep.
Nezarek.
I can
How
answer
you
that for
doing,
Noah.
man?
Noah, take down the Tormentor. The way
Oh,
that revives work is like in the first 2 sets,
Yeah.
darkness is off. But when we get to the 3rd set, we turn darkness on.
And
so
extinguish.
if you all go down, or the ADU goes down, the activity.
Yeah, Legend will
That's
be
it.
intense
Okay.
for
So
sure.
you just take the rewards you got for the 2
And in
bosses
Legend,
you got?
that's on by default.
Yeah, you don't lose any rewards. Every set you complete, you'll get rewards.
Yeah.
But if you're halfway through a set and you fail,
Yeah.
that's it.
That's it. Just take your lunchbox and go home.
Yeah, well, you can hop right back in the playlist, or
That's
hop right back in with your friends and
Yeah.
try again.
Which is what I'm gonna do, frankly. Honestly, like when this was getting developed behind the scenes here, and we were kind of getting a sense of what Into the Light was gonna be. I gotta tell you, like just the I don't know, the ability to just go ahead and keep diving back in.
Third
testing
cousin.
new builds. I'm sure I'm not the only one who has
Resi,
every
yeah.
single one of their loadout slots filled with some hyper-specific loadout that I'm deeply in love with in its own way. And so I feel like this is the exact right time to go ahead and just continue diving in and just bolstering those loadouts to begin with the Brave Arsenal, which again we'll be talking about next week. Don't you worry. But also too is just get a chance to go ahead and really see how they can thrive in environments just outside of even as difficult as GMs can be. Find something that really pushes it beyond that standard level that we're used to.
Yeah, and you're going to need to be ready for a lot. We're trying to throw a lot of variety at you, right? Those
Yeah.
are 2 combatant factions
Once
that you're going to
removed.
be
Thank you for
facing,
correcting
the
me.
Fallen Hive that can randomly be in there when you start the mission. There's the multiple defensive locations, and there's like the progression of the waves. There's augments. All these things are kind of working together in concert to like test your ability to coordinate as a team and in your build game too.
Excellent. Also, too, actually, Optimal Pickle in chat, wonderful name, I might add, is also curious. I know we just talked about scrap gathering, obviously, and how everyone kind of gets their own purse. Are you able to gift that scrap to other people, or you just get your own purse as a result of it?
You just get your own
Gift
purse.
the scrap,
Yeah.
but you can both. Like if someone places something else, you could upgrade it.
Oh, okay.
You can coordinate.
Got it.
Your spend.
They can drop to level 2, you can upgrade, or they can drop to level 1, you can upgrade it to level 2. Nice. Very good. All right, that communication is going to be...
we wanted to keep it simple and fast. Like, we didn't want to have, like, we did a lot of work to make sure it was as streamlined as it could be, because currency can get complicated if you're not careful about it.
In the heat of battle, honestly, yeah, it's like a sweeper bot,
Nobody
whatever.
wants to open their wallet and be like, you got a 5?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Can you break 3,000 scrap? Is that...
I'm getting shot here.
That's right. Just a little bit, it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, go
What exactly is the point of playing this or them having developed this when the entire game revolves around Grunge?
We're getting up there in the ways, and they're getting a little
basically,
bit more beefy.
they
you guys
are
murdering your way through. This is going great.
introducing new gear or bringing back old gear.
Another thing I really appreciate
you're
about
going to be
Onslaught,
doing
other
this
than, like, the fact you
activity
get lost in it,
to
is like, this is just going to be a great
that's really
place
it. It's
to
just something
go.
else to grind.
And just like if you want to do bounties.
And I think from the story as well, I think the story is going to probably, there's going to be lore that builds up the final shape as we get closer to it.
Tear through a lot of enemies. And like,
hear that, everyone? You can leave the opening gates of Grasp of Avarice, finally.
or Shirochi, you don't have to farm there anymore. Don't have to input that wish.
Yeah, and in some waves are really like hard, and other waves like if you've got a bunch of guys coming down a hallway, you unload your supers, unload your ammo, and it feels awesome.
Yeah,
really like have that peak power fantasy.
Yeah, it's also to know you're getting some cred in chat for your ability to dispatch champions. I don't know why people are asking about a Bungie dev fighting champion mobs. I don't know if that's a reference to something, but you'll have to remind us in chat. I don't know if I recall that moment necessarily.
Oh, I know what they're talking about. I'm telling you.
Wait, is that just a reused Crucible line?
I'll drop the Bungie ad. I don't care, man. Check me out.
I believe you, honestly.
I envy that level of confidence.
Yeah,
I'd be dead.
I hide in the background. I have my name in game is just Andy, and I hide amongst a field of other Andys with all of our little hash numbers at the end of our name, honestly. Though if you see the one with the dead man's tail, you know that's me for certain.
Great weapon. One of my favorites, honestly.
It's so good.
It's so stylish.
It's just like my favorite gun in any video game ever, honestly. It's really, really good. Though, then again, we get along pretty darn well. Okay, so we're back on the pyramid ship.
Yes, also every 6 waves, actually, you're going to...
6,
well, on the 6th wave of each thing, so 6, 16, 26, 36, etc.
Okay.
You will take the fight to the witness and have a cool little encounter that's, it feels like an action movie. You and your team
It's the same area so far. It's like the same corridor. It's the same corridor and big room.
In this hallway, and then there's an invincible warden at the
variation.
end, and the only way to dispatch him and move on is hit the dunk in the wrist.
Palette cleanse.
Oh, and he pushed me.
The overload.
That's also, too, actually, Jerome, from a lore standpoint, from a mechanic standpoint, obviously this helps, make sure that we're pushing forward in the activity and we've got an appropriate challenge. But why are the Guardians able to go ahead and even head back into these pyramid ships to go ahead?
It took us a long time to gain that power.
Yeah.
And now it's sort of permeable. It can go both ways, right?
Yeah.
The Witnesses' forces are much more able to access our space, as we can see right there in the middle of Midtown. But we are also able to access their space more.
Yeah.
So it's a double-edged sword, so to speak.
But
they opened that door. Now they can't take
That's
it back.
right.
The Guardians are going to be in there emoting and meddling and having a grand old time.
What?
See?
that wasn't an explanation.
Let's go ahead and flex your raid emotes. It's all right.
He's like, how are we able to do that? And he said,
that bitterly jealous
we're able to do that.
Took the wave 27 out. All right.
Ooh.
Oh my lord.
Yeah, this is starting to get spicy out here.
All right. Let's lock in, guys.
Sorry, we're just making it more theatrical.
Yeah, we totally aren't trying at all. It's super easy.
I just know I'm going to turn a corner and there's going to be the cursed thrall, like, right there. You see it.
Oh.
I got alt-tabbed.
Oh, alt-tabbed?
Alt-tabbed? Okay, all right. I was about to say.
I got alt-tabbed again?
I was like, as it turns out, everyone,
screen.
Yep, also too, just for everyone's awareness too, we're here live in the dev environment, so what you're seeing is obviously a quick peek behind the scenes.
Whoops.
But yeah, we're obviously working off of a dev build right now.
Nice.
And
yeah, I know. I know.
On thralls.
My favorite is the quick draw gunslinger one.
Yeah.
Hunter, I actually just bought it. I was like, I need it.
The solar one that kind of does like the twirl around his finger. Oh yeah.
I was like, I need that. So I'll give up anything.
I got it. I think it was it Guardian Games last year where you got the chair to go ahead and just send them flying at 1,000 miles an hour.
It's hard to beat
never
the chair.
gets old. Yeah, absolutely never gets old.
It looks like Ashley and Clayton are just carrying me.
Oh,
right
is
now.
the stream being...
I mean, it is their
Wait.
job to be good.
Is the chat of the main stream being toxic, guys? Like, are they like really bashing me?
But
yeah.
Yeah, we're the
That's right. Yeah.
Like I have no idea
in
what
our
people are
hearts.
saying. Are they not
Well,
liking this
really,
at all?
That's going to be for players, right? We want
Certainly.
all of you to be able to hop in this. Again, yeah, this is available for all players.
Yeah.
Which is also really exciting. It's kind of like a big gift from all of us here at Bungie to all of you out there, all of our Guardians, our community.
Yeah.
So, yes, thank you. We're excited to be able to, get you all buffed to take on the Witness.
Yeah, honestly. It's not going to be easy, obviously. Just another opportunity to equip everyone, obviously.
Something I wanted to mention, just to like get a little peek behind the curtain when it comes to our friend Sweeperbot here, is he used to be the best decoy in the game, like better than all his other tiered variants, because there was a bug where only the broom would take any damage. And as we see, he's really skinny, so he was like basically nigh untouchable.
Functionally immortal Sweeperbot.
Oh my God.
Must be nice, obviously, just to have your Horcrux or whatever it is, right? But it's just his broom this time, as it would turn out.
We fixed it, though.
Yeah, it's fair. All right.
Yeah,
It'll live on, again, another thing that lives on strictly in our hearts.
Yes.
Also, too, out of curiosity, Vadar477 in chat asks, will there be, like, if you have just 2 people on your fire team and you want to go in solo, is there a private mode you can dive into this with?
I believe if you hop in the higher difficulties, you can do that.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. So everyone out there that wants to really challenge themselves, maybe attempt to solo all 50 waves. I think the theory is, our running theory is that it's impossible.
I think it's not possible. That's my charge to the community. Can you beat Legend solo by your, like, obviously that's what solo means, but can you beat Legend solo?
Someone's got to do it.
If my teammate on the social media
it's
team,
so
Mitch, is out there
funny,
watching
dude.
while on vacation, so don't you dare be working.
Oh, they
I
saw
think
his
he's got
Steam
that
account.
challenge cut out for himself as well.
Hey, I've learned not to underestimate the Destiny community at all. Especially like in Mission Whetstone, I thought it would take a lot longer for people to do that. That was quick.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, we underestimate the Guardians much.
Yeah, I would
the
say
same
it's probably
as the
more
Witness at our
critical.
own
Yeah,
peril.
yeah.
So obviously, none of us want to do that. If anything, I'm just excited to go ahead and see this get in players' hands on April 9th.
Yeah, of course. I'm so excited to see like what strategies people come up with. As we see, we have another augment here where you are killing Spark Hoarders to spawn a Spark, and when you dunk the Rift, it actually does a chunk of damage to the boss, which if you're looking at the health bar at the bottom, you'll see it does a decent amount. So when you get to bosses that are a little chunkier, these are ways to do extra damage to them.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, okay. Not too shabby.
This part is kind of getting a bit stale for
I'll say
me
it again. I'm so bitter
because
jealous I
it's
don't
just
have
the
Barry
one
Bonds
room
right
over
now.
and over
You're
again.
making it look so good.
I was going to have to carry you.
It's good. It's a good gun, especially if you're on other subclasses. It's just free Devour. Plus the Catalyst, you get Devour and Weaken pretty much on demand by using it.
It's also, too, maybe a small thing, but my personal favorite, just if I had to pick a champion mod, and I know it doesn't work like that, but I do have to give credit to anti-barrier, because it's every single barrier. It doesn't matter if it's a Hive Knight shield, doesn't matter if a Taken Vandal goes ahead and puts their shield up, or if a Hobgoblin goes ahead and cloisters up. Like, it's just like, I'm sorry, I'm just going to keep shooting you right in the face. This is not how this works for you.
Okay.
No! What happened? All right, we're out of stream veto moments, obviously. No, I'm sorry, but this shame you have to live with.
That didn't happen.
Are you sure you want to hand out your Bungie ID still?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Okay,
I'll do it. I don't back down.
I'll leave it to you on Twitter. That's fine.
Oh wait, is that why?
I'll
Because
get cooked, it's fine.
he said his thing.
Again, at our own peril, we
I
underestimate.
don't know.
So is this the final boss encounter in the pyramid for this particular wave?
Yes, for this particular wave. I think we're on wave 30.
Yes.
Which means we're on our last.
No, this is a Bungie account.
Our last wave, which is take the fight to the boss.
So
Again.
definitely a little bit beefier than the last 2 bosses.
Yeah.
But we're going to
victory
dunk
lap.
and kill it in one
more of a
shot.
trial.
Here we go.
There we go.
So and also too is that dunking mechanic that does extra damage to the boss. That's just is that like a modifier that kind of gets randomly added with each particular boss?
That's one of those augments, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So there's no guarantee you're going to get that one necessarily.
Nope.
Even better. Excellent. All right.
Guys, let's do the emote. No.
All right, let's keep running more waves. Also, too, actually, I saw a question pop up in chat. Again, I apologize. I missed the name. Twitch chat is moving fast, but thank you to all you Guardians for joining us. Is there any kind of a timer present in this activity, or do you just get to dive in and take your time?
The only timer is actually present in the purchase phase. We want to kind of keep that fast-paced flow going.
Yeah.
But otherwise, we just have the timer ticking up to see how long your session has been. But yeah, there's no timer. We're not counting down like 10 minutes to beat a whole wave or something.
The only real fail condition is the fire team alive and is ADU still standing.
Got it. Okay. And again, once the ADU is gone, that's it.
I
you lose on wave 1.
I don't know how I
somehow.
feel about this.
Generally, we want to be pretty clear about our failure conditions. We don't want to stack.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like, oh, you have to.
That's fair. There's like a and B and a C, nothing like that. Okay. And again, you're only defending its one ADU that kind of will
I'm happy
transition.
that
Only
it's a
the
horde
current
mode.
ADU.
It will move with you.
Got it. Okay, thank you. That's perfect. Also, to chat, I see you asking for information on the loot to show us what weapons are on the way. Tune in next week. We'll have plenty for you. I can promise you that.
Yeah, Shaxx is, if you go into the lore, Shaxx is working with some folks, some characters from the past.
That's right, yeah.
And also opening up his private reserve
Interesting.
for our use.
Yeah.
So
So is
It's
this,
gonna be
also,
exciting.
is this something Shaxx has been sitting on for a while, or has he been working on this behind the scenes?
Well, there've been some weapons that have been frowned upon in the Crucible.
Yeah.
And but now's the time to bring those out.
Yeah.
Anything
Vanguard
that-
outlawing stuff is not something we have time for at this point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if it's dangerous, now's the time to bust it out.
All the better. Obviously.
You know,
yeah.
high risk, high reward. That's how I see it.
And we, if anything, are facing down our biggest risk in the Witness so far, obviously. So making sure that Shaxx goes ahead and opens those coffers, nothing short of generous, I'll say. Just. Have you improved ability regeneration right now, or are you just that good?
That's what, I feel like you're
Consider
not
that.
hearing me. I'm that guy.
Marvel Secret Invasion.
You have mentioned that once or
Oh,
twice, actually. I don't know.
Noah maybe plays an unhealthy amount of Destiny.
Sometimes I will, not even sometimes, oftentimes I get off work and immediately I'm like, okay.
I think there was a
That was
on
on
there,
me.
Noah, by the way. And I'm not sure if you saw that. That's,
But I immediately get on and play. I do raids and dungeons. I mean, I've been doing a lot of the coil recently.
yeah,
My Rosaraga.
My dad and I end up playing this game a lot, and so basically every single day after work, it's just like us texting each other, being like, hey, so when are you hopping on? When are you done with dinner?
That's fun.
I imagine we'll probably more so do the easy modes, but I've got my Nightfall crew I'm sure I could dive in here with. Although, honestly, I think at this point he's more loot paid, my dad, than any of us, so I think he'd have no problem diving in here.
That's awesome to hear. That's what Destiny is all about, right?
Yeah, it's a
Bringing
lot of
people
fun.
together.
Yeah. All right, things getting pretty intense. Let's see. Out of curiosity as well, I'm not sure if we can mention this one, but is, Tom, is there a light level increase with Into the Light, or is this still at 1830? I believe it is.
It is at the current power.
Current power? Cool.
Yep.
All right, that hasn't changed. Thank you, Nikki Knight.
Can you just say it does more
That
than one
question
map?
as well.
Oh, it's time. I can make
Is it time?
a super. Okay, no. I don't have enough for that. Nice.
How much scrap you sitting on right now?
I was on 5,000.
Okay.
Oh, I was too late.
Scrapped for cash.
Scrapped
I wasn't
for
paying
cash.
attention. You got on the
Narrative
team,
department.
Honestly, that is, I want to say obnoxiously good. It's like, it's always like, man,
We appreciate that.
These guys are just stealing our job. Want to write tweets? No. All right. This is remaining intense. And again, we're still fighting the Hive. We were fighting the Fallen earlier.
Oh, my please.
So there will be multiple sets of the Witnesses' armies going ahead and chasing us down in this activity here.
Usually it's
I
just
should
one
super-
per run.
Right, yeah. For the sake of the developer
yep.
tools, went ahead and just swap that over just so folks can get a look.
You know it's getting harder when Noah stops flexing.
I know, right? Yeah.
He's actually
Okay,
having
there's a lot going on, you know?
There is.
Like,
Fairness. And I think also, too, this is something we sort of touched on yesterday when we were doing our initial playthroughs, but especially when you get to these higher levels and it's not just kind of the, you know, the proverbial, comparatively speaking, walk in the park that the first few are, like, you really got to keep your comms crisp with your team. You got to make sure that you're really aligning,
Pete
not
Parsons.
even necessarily your champion mods, but maybe sending your scrap to one part to really go ahead and stymie the bad guys there so you can focus your attention, your abilities, your supers on another lane. Actually, also, too, to that end, obviously the you know, pyramids have been doing some terraforming.
Yeah,
but,
watch it be
you know, Tom, when you guys were building
Midtown,
this
Bannerfall,
activity,
and Twilight Gap.
how are you guys going about even changing these maps? It looks like you guys have changed the architecture in some pretty significant ways.
Yeah, so when we
Wait,
look
why
at these
didn't he
maps,
go
right,
invisible
we want
with
to
his
have like
melee?
a bunch of distinct lanes for the enemies to kind of like attack the ADU from, and they give you like these fronts that you have to divide your attention
Yeah.
across the team. So you really have to be like, oh, they're coming from the left, they're coming from the right. You take this
Yeah.
way, I take that way.
Yeah.
And like a lot of times in these maps, they're great for PvP.
Yeah.
But they didn't have the lanes we needed, and the artists and the designers working together like, oh, like what if like the pyramids
Yeah.
just like evaporated this building right here.
Yeah.
And
You guys are like, great, let's do it.
yeah, you know,
Yeah.
and that really, so we had to open up some channels in here, and like that, you know, we got the great, you know, fictional context where we can be like, no, it's
Yeah.
Resistance forces, it's not, you know,
Yeah.
It's not Todd.
Yeah, sure. All right, and also too, I'm getting some word from the Traveler in the sky. No, I hate to break it to you, but we have come to the end of our gameplay segment. You must return from your throne world.
I think I performed pretty well, things considered.
I'll be the first to agree with you, especially because I don't want to have to face you down in this activity. I want your help, honestly. When it
We'll just 1v1 in Crucible sometime.
Yeah, and also too is I think we can say that, but this is going to happen. We maybe won't say where, but this isn't the only location that players are going to have.
Yeah,
there's a lot available to them. Yeah, there will be more than that, obviously. Noah, welcome back from the Throne World. It's good to see you.
I got a lot of tithes. You know, I feel like Eris and I are comparable right now.
So you're going to turn into a hive? Never mind. I don't want to attempt turning into a hive god. That's fine. We'll leave that for your.
That's the next expansion.
Obviously, that's true. Yeah, we'll see. But no, Noah, thank you very much for taking us through that.
Thanks
and
for having me.
of course, for everyone here in Twitch chat, thank you for joining us. But before we go ahead and head on out, you know, this is just kind of the first look at what's to come in Destiny 2 Into the Light. Again, as a reminder, we're going to be doing 3 streams showing up all of this content that's going to be coming out, available to all players. And of course, before we go ahead and head off, you know, Tom, you guys have all worked so heavily on this activity. Tom, we'll start with you. When Onslaught releases, when it gets in players' hands on April 9th, what are you most looking forward to?
I really want to see what players do with the defenses. I want to see what their strategies are. I know Noah's got his strategies. I've got mine. Maybe mine are a little less developed than his. And just to be able to see. Also, it's a great time to get back in and play. It's gonna be a great time to play Destiny. It's gonna be like new activities, tons of rewards. It's gonna be fun. I'm gonna be hopping in with me and my sons.
Yeah, that's gonna be awesome. Yeah, Jerome, as someone who's gone ahead and helped craft this story to bring this to life, obviously to make sure it fits into the Destiny universe so well, what are you most looking forward to when this releases on April 9th?
First of all, people getting absolutely hyped out of their minds for the final shape, and I want to see what builds arise out of this. It's a kind of a different strategic calculus than we've seen before, so I want to see how the players innovate and deal with this new challenge.
Strategic calculus. I'm going to file that one away. That's the narrative team, everyone. Geez, just making us all look bad. And of course, Noah, you've helped brick by brick put this together, this brand new activity. You know, as someone who's obviously spent a ton of time playing it in addition to developing it, you know, when it gets out into the wild, when you've got the chance to play it with your friends, what are you most looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to just getting my reps in, seeing how far we can get, especially on Legend, get extra rewards, have extra difficulty, just have fun with friends and trying to see, like Jerome was saying, like what builds arise, like what cool stories come out of playing things like this. Like we saw, you can have a big tormentor show up and like all these different things.
True,
those little
tower
immersion
defense
moments
like
would really make
better.
Onslaught special at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And
like in the tower.
I'm really proud of what the team and everyone has done. Like I'm a very small part of a larger team. Teams are way better than heroes.
Yeah.
And
you're here.
You know, everyone has done such a great job building Onslaught and just curating stuff for Into the Light. I'm so excited for what's going to show up in these next live streams.
Awesome. Yeah, and thank you guys all 3 for being here today to represent the team and help us kind of, you know, show this first glimpse at Into the Light to all the players out there. Obviously, it's pretty great to have you guys here, bright and early in the morning.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Yep. All right, everyone. Well, I believe that's it from us here at Bungie HQ. As a quick reminder, again, we'll be back next week at the same Bungie time, same Bungie place to show you some even more content about Into the Light, including some returning Guardian favorite weapons, which you may have gotten a glimpse of today, a brand new look at an all-new social space as well that you can take your fire team down to, and even more information about upcoming rewards. Before we obviously set it off, I want to again thank our guests here for joining us today, to the entire Destiny development team who behind the scenes right now is working on this content, bringing it to life for all of us. Thank you all so much for your hard work. To Clayton and Ashley, our play testers in the back who went ahead and helped fill out the fire team. Getting some waves, there we go. Thank you very much. To the amazing team of producers who are here putting on the show, thank you all so much. Genuinely, it's amazing to have all of your assistants. They have the distinct difficulty of making me look good on camera, so believe me, their work is cut out for them. And to our team of moderators in chat, you're the real heroes. Thank you so much for your time. But in the meantime, again, reminder, we'll be back next week at the same time and place to show you even more content. But until then, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and we'll see you all Starside.
I don't know, man. The music's cool at least. That's cool. Like, the music is pretty good. Like, it is. But, okay, that's the stream. Okay. Let me go over to the Bungie stream. No, I'm on the Bungie stream. Sorry, let me look at the chat. Okay. I have to admit. Let me just preemptively go to the Bungie forums here and see. Oh boy, it already is beginning. Okay. So we have a post saying Onslaught including everything players hate about PvE. Champions and bullet sponges. Massive L. Garbage looking activity in 3-man. Zero hype. Boring design. More of the same garbage. Bungie design isn't going to get those pre-orders up. Studio is cooked. Right, let me do that in the lore accurate voice.
Onslaught, including everything players hate about PvE. Champions and bullet sponges. Massive L. Garbage looking activity and 3-man. Zero hype. Boring design. More of the same garbage, Bungie. Design's not going to get those pre-orders up. Studio is cooked.
Anyway, I don't know, dude, what I think. I feel like the picture, the key art, made it look way more epic than it actually was. So, if the leaks are right, the new social space will be a mix of both towers and home. I ain't Solgies. We'll just get my god roll, midnight coup, and call it a day. Is this music in the background a new one? That music, Felix, was the background for the Final Shape trailer. You got bored and stopped watching. I like champions, though. After the Final Shape delay and additional crunch players are happy, that means more delays and more crunch are needed. So, I think that they, honestly, went about doing this the wrong way. They have split what really should have been one stream into 3, in my opinion. So this stream was all about purely what Onslaught is and what you do in it. And they said the second stream is going to be the reveal of the weapons and the gear. And I don't know what the third one's going to be necessarily. If you really think about it, this stream had them introduce Onslaught and then waffle for an hour. Like, they just kind of were playing it and then just talking about random stuff. Now, I will say, I appreciate them putting themselves out there. I do miss having these kinds of streams from Bungie, so I'm not taking that for granted. But I think that it wouldn't have felt as boring if they had shown us some of the gear. If they had told us maybe what some of the other maps were. If they had shown the social space, you know? Like, I'm sure next week's will be less boring. I mean, maybe some of you didn't find this boring at all, but, you know, I sat here and I watched the Onslaught for like however many minutes. After the first 10, 15 minutes, I kind of saw everything that I needed to. And then it just was, you know, a repeat. Like what, what is it, the ADU? it like rotated I think they rotated like 3 times. And that was about it. The pyramid stuff was cool, going into the pyramid. But that looked like it was one hallway and one big room. You start on one side, either you start in the hallway and you go to the big room, or you start in the big room and you go to the end of the hallway. And like obviously they said there's gonna be more maps, so maybe, you know, it's gonna be different, but I don't know, dude. And here's the thing, like, you know, we can say, oh, Bungie's being lazy or whatever. The reality is that this content wasn't supposed to exist. They had to make this up on the spot. I recognize that. I appreciate that. But again, it still is kind of... Especially that it's Midtown. And if you think about it, they just put the ADU where the control zones were. You know? Midtown has 3 control zones. And the ADU just went to the 3 control zones. Ooh. Yeah, like, I'll probably play it. And I'm definitely going to play it. And we'll see what the gear is. And if they've got, like, red borders, if it's craftable, I probably will try and get some of those. And... yeah, apart from that, dude, I don't know. The hallway is the one from the Throne World Strike. I was literally thinking that, dude. Yeah, probably. Yeah, once the delay was leaked for the final shape, that's when they were already working internally. Exactly. Yep, for sure. So, I don't know. Actually, I'm going to go check out... I'm going to check out Aztecross. What is Aztecross saying?
It's a dev build. I would be very surprised if we're going to have to go up 20 whole levels just to play this free activity. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think we're going to be playing at 1830. They said it as if it was 1810. You know.
That's your concern? Really?
The way they said it, they've been operating at 1830. What's really happening here? So they've probably been playing in and out of their final shape builds, maybe. He also picked up Hung Dirty. Yeah, but I didn't see anything about it. They said no level increase. Right. But everybody's pointing out that it's 1830 here. But what I'm trying to say is we're not going to 1830.
I don't know, dude. I don't really care about the level aspect of it at all. Yeah, dude. I don't know. Yeah, his chat isn't really saying that much either. It's interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna check the Bungie site and I'm gonna see if they said anything about... Oh no, I found another post. Oh, here we go.
I fell asleep during the dev stream. And been yapping and yapping, and nothing of worth was shown or spoken.
The White Rabbit says,
I was so completely unimpressed.
Mackie25 says,
Such an underwhelming stream. I was so bored, I switched it off.
Anyway. Yeah, people don't seem to be happy. I think that overall, I wouldn't be surprised if there is negative sentiment. But let me go back to the main page and let me see what Bungie said about these streams. No, it just says each will focus on different... Okay, well that is a typo. Each will focus on different parts of the content update and will be presented by developers. So, yeah, I don't know what to tell you, man. I don't know. Let me open up this picture real quick. Okay. Let me open this up and let's take a look at this. Let me find the picture. Here we go. Okay. Like, when you look at this picture, it looks really insane, but the guy did anybody who was watching this, did you see this going on? Did you see this happening in the sky? Did you see this going on? Also, yeah, I don't know, dude. Another really easy, a really easy thing they could have done is if they actually used the beginning area from Scourge of the Past. But, you saw clear skies? Most of the time it felt like he was looking for enemies and then champions show up. Yeah, that's basically it. Yeah. I will say, right, Destiny 2 Soul Scorcher. Oof. Like, this is Midnight Coup. This is whatever the new sword is. And then... oh, that's a shotgun? I want to say shotgun. The Botsa district. Yep. Also, if there are pyramid ships, what happened to the whole fleet in sky? That's what I've been saying, Mr. Wiki? Mr. Wiki. I have been saying that. And the only thing that I can say as a conclusion is the only thing that makes sense is if this is the fleet from Neomuna. But this is all Hive. You know? Now maybe they'll have a different map and it'll be... oh no, because they... well, wait a minute. We saw them fight Hive and we saw them fight Fallen because there were the servitors and the captains. What happened? So there's just no Purple Legion, you know? Yeah, it would have made more sense for this fleet to be from Neomuna. Because the fleet that went into... like, even if you want to say, right, that not all of the ships went into the portal, we have no idea what happened to the rest of them. Like, at all, so... wait a minute. I can actually do you one better. Can do you one better. Does anybody remember the cutscene where I think it's one of the dudes tries to fly into the portal? got lore videos about the thing. Can I just have the cutscene? Yeah. Here we go. Look. Look at this. No pyramids. Completely clear. Completely clear. Absolutely fine. So, like, there's no explanation. So... Oh, that was Season of the Deep. Thank you. Yeah, take care, Paradox. Thank you for being here, man. I really appreciate it. Yeah, the witness has no idea. At all. Yep, yep. Well, so, like, it doesn't look like... Like, let me try and find it here. It's, Lightfall... Okay. Ah. Okay. So look here. This is from Lightfall. Not the best, it doesn't really matter. So you see these many ships. And then... By the way, look at this. This is so funny. Okay. And then... It's just the same cutscene, dude. So, again, there's no fleet behind it.
The universe makes us all victim. Perpetrator. Right. You. Be free.
So how many is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8? 8 ships here. And then presumably those same ships go into it. And then let me pull up the here we go. Again, this is the Witness's pyramid, allegedly, and it's completely alone. And oh no, never mind. I was gonna say something. True, that's a fair point. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Who are you? So we have two pictures here. We've got this here. And we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We got a bunch of pyramids in that one. And we have this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 pyramids, so I don't know, dude. Do you know what I'm also gonna do? Like, I know I'm beating a dead horse. Like, there's no point in me doing this. But let me just final shape trailer. No ships in the sky at all. No ships. No ships. We have planets, but no ships. Not a single vehicle has been observed. Nothing. Nothing.
So I
Nothing.
ask you one last time to rise.
And there you have it. I don't know. No, okay, do you know what? I'm gonna like absolutely I'm gonna get the Bungie press kit. And we're gonna look at screenshots of the pale art. Here we go. Here we go. Nope. Here we go. Nope. Nope. Anyway, like, I don't think I need to keep doing this, but you get my point. Like, there's no explanation because there is no, they don't know. It is what it is, man. It is what it is. Okay. What if the pyramids that make an assault on Earth are going to appear weekly? I don't know, dude. Final Homefront 2011 mission feels more engaging by how many enemies on a gate bridge. What if the pyramids are the Witness's version of Siva? Well, I don't know about that, because I don't know, maybe, but I just see them as ships. There's 24 plus Callus's ship in Season of the Seraph cutscene. Okay, no, yeah, that makes sense. Grow and shrink to any size? Yeah, I don't personally buy that myself. The Witness possibly fused them into... I don't buy that either. I'm sorry, man. I don't buy that myself. True, when it comes to the I mean, was there anything that actually made it look... I think the coolest the Witness ever looked was when it, like, scowled at Callus, and it was close up. That was pretty cool. The real become legend is the friendship we made along the way. 100%. Maybe the ships don't mean anything anymore. Yeah. I don't. It's all goofy, dude. It's all goofy. It's all goofy. I'm gonna do a... How do I... Here we go. I'm gonna do a poll. Wait, did it just finish instantly? Oh no, here we go. I don't know, dude. Like, I think it could be fun to play for a bit, but Midtown, and I don't know. I just wish that they showed, like, the gear. I wish they showed, even mentioned a little bit more about this new social space. Again, I appreciate them doing the streams the way they did, being open to the criticism in the chat and just kind of doing their best with it. But so we're looking at 60-40. That's not too bad, honestly. I was expecting it to be a little bit more extreme, but that's not too bad. I'm gonna go back to the forums and I'm gonna see if anybody else. Yeah, this guy actually, he makes a good point. So he said, first live stream thoughts. Optimistic for what they are talking about. I'm left wanting more, which is good. I just feel like they are holding their cards close to their chest right now. I'm hearing good things, but I want to see good things. True. I feel like the second stream will be better, but this was really stretched for the content shown. Easily, man. I hope the next stream is wanted. is wait, Hope next stream is 1. Okay, I don't know. But as an activity for all players, this is good. I'm hoping the streams keep escalating, and the third final one is a big one. Stream was garbage. They spent way too long on just the one map, which I get that they wanted to show off the higher wave difficulties, but it just wasn't interesting to see the same map for an hour. I left the stream twice for 10 minutes to take care of work-related stuff. Both times I came back and I thought they were in the same location. Yeah. I'll tell you this, right? I think that if this was part of like the final shape and they had way more time and resources to work with, I think the concepts here are really cool. But because they don't have much time to work with it, and probably their budget is really low, let's be honest, they're just kind of winging it with what they have. But, yeah, no. And I'm gonna end that poll, because it doesn't really... To be honest, I think this could have been a trailer or a mini over. Yeah, for sure, dude. Yep, there's a new social. Yep, there's a new social space. Apparently, it's Shax's resort. Wait a minute, did they just rehash Hung Jury into Grandma's Weapon? I don't know. I heard somebody mention it in Astacross's video, but I don't know. But, yeah, no. I think that's actually everything that I wanted to talk about. For those of you who weren't here at the start, I spent, like, the first hour going over the Collector's Edition lore. That was actually really fun. I recorded that. That's going to be its own video as well whenever I upload that. And some really big stuff got released, basically. And then we obviously watched the reveal stream for Onslaught. And then tomorrow I am going to see about getting another video released. I will actually show you the work in progress thumbnail. This is what I'm cooking up at the moment. And I will not say what it is about. We'll find out. And again, I'm going to try and see about getting that done for tomorrow, if I can. Their budget isn't low, their burn rate for expenses is high. That's true. I mean, they're both connected, right? If their budget is low, it's also because their burn rate is high. Yeah. Take care, Beth. Thank you for being here, man. Dude looks like Luke Skywalker, but Titan. Yeah, true. But yeah, no, I'm gonna end that there. I hope all of you have a great day and rest of your week. Thank you everybody who was here, whether you were in chat or whether you were lurkers. And yeah, dude, I am looking forward to try Onslaught, and I'm looking forward to see the lore that comes with it. And yeah, no, I'm looking forward to see what people think about the Collector's Edition lore. But with all of that being said, I am going to end that here. And yeah, no, I'll talk to you guys later.